Hey, three people watching. What's going on? Hey, Jonathan. Hey, Venkman. Thought I'd start the feed just a little bit early. I haven't invited the regular players in yet. I was actually just getting things set up. But I thought I would let people start coming in on it. 227, yo, yourself, man. Jonathan, who is going to be on? We've got... Gonna have a brain fart. I can't name a single person. No, we've got JR. We've got Mike. We've got Javi. We've got Peter Shytown Spidey. We've got Neil. And who else do we have? Oh, Dark Mark. Dark Mark's going to join us. And I think that's it. So it should be a packed house for the movie review. Unfortunately, George won't be with us. Zach may appear, may not. He had to work tonight. So let me go over in our Facebook and double check it, see if I missed anybody. JR, McNulty, Ashley, Neil, Javi, Peter, and Mark. Yeah, I got everybody. Cool. I know Enigma. I couldn't. Even if I drug George to the theater, I don't think he'd come see it. I would be interested in his opinion also. Yeah, it was a huge issue for me also. You know what? I should invite the other people on. I just invited JR. He's not on yet. I'm a little early. All right, let me start inviting people. There goes one to Ashley. Here goes one to Neil. Here goes one to... Here goes one to Mark. Hey, Neil, what's up?
Not much. I'm in a different location because my grandparents are moving in, so I'm
Look,
in their room.
From the angle of that camera, it looks like that bookshelf is going to hit your head.
Oh no, it's anchored. It's anchored to the wall.
Is it not leaning?
No, it's anchored into the wall.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay, who else do I need to invite? I need to invite Peter.
Someone asked what the spoiler policy is.
Oh, yeah. If you're watching this show, you need to have seen the movie. And if you haven't seen the movie...
Then why are you here?
Then why are you watching the review of the movie? Yeah, there's going to be spoilers in it. We're going to talk in depth. So bookmark it, save it. You can watch it after you've watched the movie. But yeah, we're opening the Pandora box. We're letting it all hang out.
And this is my thinking hat for when I actually have to...
Who haven't I invited? McNulty. I haven't. Let's see here.
Oh, when we start, I should probably tell the story of how I accidentally tried to sell furniture to Zach.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, you guys met last month, and now you're already selling furniture together.
Oh, it's a good story.
One thing I always like for these movie reviews is if Um, if you had any funny in theater experience.
Oh no.
So you can share that if you've got something. Okay, do I have a guy?
I
Everybody?
G-
One,
Gior-
two.
Giorno Giovanna. Yes, I know who you are. Oh God,
Who's that?
he's someone I go to school with.
Oh, what's up, man? Give me
He
some dirt on Neil. No, I'm just kidding.
there is a meme that for April Fools I was going to write an article on the Cat Scratch TV show,
Oh yeah.
and then he won't let it go. So every April Fools, he expects me to write an article on Cat Scratch.
Cat scratch fever. Down, down.
Oh no. This is my personal life and my not professional life coming together. My blessing and my curse.
It's all good. Michael O'Connor, hello from Ireland. What's up, man? I'm very excited to hear the panel's opinions on the movie tonight. I'm glad you joined us. Michael, what time of the day is it in Ireland? Is it really early in the morning?
I had to wait about 30 seconds.
I know. It's got to go over some water. Did George see Homecoming after a home release? Forgot if he was against the whole thing. No, I think George was on the Homecoming review.
Yeah, he was.
So,
I think so.
yeah.
And then he hated. I think did he hate? I think he hated it. It's been a while since I've seen that review, but I remember him expressly not liking it.
I don't remember. It is 2 a.m. in Ireland. Well, bravo, sir. What? 2 a.m.'s not that bad in the summer.
Oh. I have a yoga ball underneath my desk that I'm using to support my legs.
Is this the same laptop that if you wiggle it, the camera goes out?
Yes, it is. I also hooked up a monitor to it.
I almost asked you to move it a little bit so you'd have a little bit more headroom, because
okay, hang on. Let me
because that shelf is just gonna fall on you, man.
Okay, this is what you get. You're going to stick with it.
What? Oh, that? Okay. I can barely see. I can't see your mouth at all. You're blocked by all the windows at the bottom. So you need.
Well, the windows. What?
You know the little boxes at the bottom.
Oh, the
Yeah, when your headroom is that low, you can't see your mouth.
Oh,
and I'm gonna fly in here like Karate Kid. I'm about to.
Oh wait, wrong.
No, that's Thanos snap. Yeah, not Karate Kid. Karate Kid is toothpicks.
I just necked half the universe.
It's 6 p.m. in Southern California, Jonathan. There you go. So, how many we got watching? Let me look up here.
11. I'm sure I'm at least one of them.
I always have a problem with making the window big enough to see the chat as it goes, and also hold this window open.
What you could do is you could minimize. You could take the window out of full mode and then narrow it down to just the thing.
I know, but let's see here. Oh, okay, there you go. It's that puts it way at the bottom. I see where it is. 11 watching. Heroing 2.0. What's going on, sir? Or ma'am? I don't know. So 12 of you, since we're waiting, we've got 12 minutes. This fly is gonna. I'm gonna.
You want me to fly over to your house and get some?
I feel like Kermit. I'm gonna do a Kermit.
It's me, Kermit the Frog.
Kermit the Frog.
I'm gonna genocide the entire fly species.
I could be like keep it at Marvel early. I could be Toad from the first X-Men. Anyway, so 12 people watching. It's not Spider-Man related, but I have a question for you. I bought about 3 years ago Batman Arkham Knight for the PS4. I have yet to beat it. I just picked it up a couple of days ago. It's been sitting for at least a year. I don't know what I think of this game. I want to finish it though. I've played the other 3, and this is the 4th. This one just has too much Batmobile in it.
That's the problem. I think I own it for my Xbox.
Yeah,
the stealth sections are great.
Well, yeah, that's because it's like Arkham Knight and Arkham Asylum, where you're up high and you gotta. But you know, as I was swinging through Arkham, I was thinking to myself, swinging through the city with Spider-Man is so much nicer. It's a lot more clunky with Batman. You got to go. You got to get the the
You gotta get,
claw.
you gotta
And,
get the, you gotta get an actual, you gotta get an actual anchor point. You can't just phantom anchor point your way everywhere.
right, you always got to look for R1, and
Yeah.
the graphics are beautiful though. But anyway,
Rocksteady nailed the graphics.
yeah. So, did you beat it? Did you like the game?
I beat most of the game. I think the only thing I didn't beat was the Azrael stuff.
Mm.
I think and it might be just because I don't have that good of reflexes.
I'm just going through the main story, and I'm seeing all the side missions you can do,
Yeah.
like going after Man-Bat, and then I it gave me hope for the new Spider-Man game. How much DLC they have for that Batman game?
Oh, the Harley Quinn stuff. There's a Red Hood.
The Harley Quinn. They've got a Robin thing going. They've got it's just a bunch of stuff you can buy. It was like $1 here, $5 here, $6 here. Giorno. I got it for free. Have yet to play it. I'm considering selling. Nothing against the game. I just don't know if I'm dedicating my time to it. Well, I finally finished God of War, which that is such a beautiful game. That one took me about a year. I'm a slow gamer. I'll go a couple months and then play it, and then go a couple months. But have you played that one, Neil?
No, I don't have a PS4. So
okay, yeah, that's an exclusive.
Right now, I'm in the middle of like a modernization phase where I'm trying to get rid of some of my old stuff and upgrade some newer stuff. So my current goal is to raise enough money to either get the Xbox One X or the Project Scarlet when it comes out.
What's Project Scarlet?
It's apparently Microsoft's new console title for the next gen.
Oh.
And I'm looking for, and I'm the only reason I'm doing that is because Halo Infinite's a launch title for that console.
Oh, I have a buddy that loves Halo.
Yeah. And I'm eBaying everything. I've got two sets of comics. I'm selling Transformers, Unicron, and the first 4 issues of the new West Coast Avengers.
Oh, I couldn't do West Coast Avengers. There's nobody on the team I like.
I did it because of Caselli.
Oh yeah, it does. He is pretty.
I stick with
art.
I stick with my artists.
JP, what's up, sir?
I'm also selling this old Apple router. If anyone wants it.
Michael, I agree with you. Arkham City was great. That was my favorite of all of them. I did buy that third one that I don't think Rocksteady was involved with, but it was okay. I never finished it. Season pass for everything is $10. Dude, I don't need to spend 5 years on this game. I'm already in 3 years. After this game, because when I bought the PS4, I bought 3 games with it. I bought Arkham Knight. I bought Lego Marvel, and I bought Alien Isolation, and I have yet to beat those 3 original games I bought.
You got the... Was it Isolation? I'm thinking of Colonial Marines. Colonial
Marines has horrible reviews, but Isolation has really good reviews.
I almost said you got the short end of that stick when you said Alien Isolation.
Yeah. I did play the DLC, Mike.
Did we ever do a review of the
the third one? The third we didn't. We did the first 2. We need to do that at some point.
I won't have good things to say about it, particularly about Hammerhead.
I can't remember it. I can't. I think I beat it around December.
So for everyone here, you really didn't miss a ton with the last 2 DLCs. It felt like
the first one was great with the intro of the Black Cat.
The second and third ones felt like they were written by a completely different person, though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, it's JR.
JR, what's going on, sir?
Tell you, I literally just got out of the shower.
Hello, Goblin Man.
Same here. I've been mowing all day.
You know what? That's why I told you I may not make it to the comic reviews. I spent the last 2 days working on my landscaping. So,
it's awful.
And I'm
slowly turning into JR. I'm doing lawn mowing. We're wearing the same shirt. We're tired.
Well, we're wearing the same shirt because this shirt was gifted to me, and I feel almost naked appearing on the crawl space without it. I just feel. Yeah, so
I'll tell you what, Brad. When you die, I'll take over the site as Iron Man Fly Space.
Oh, stop!
Ooh, no.
Let's shut it down before there.
Shut it down, lad.
Shut it down.
You'll never get George honored if you do that. Oh, man.
That's funny.
George will disown me. Hang on.
Vinkman, normally I always end up seeing movies a few weeks later because of work. This time I saw it fairly early, and now I finally got to participate in one of your movie reviews, live stream. Well, there you go, Vinkman.
So,
What day did this come out? July 2, I think?
mhm.
Yep. Cool.
I have no notes. I am flying blind.
It's all good. You don't have a book to review, and
Yeah. Just make it up as I go, like I usually do.
has anyone seen the Predator Hunting Grounds game that's coming out next year? So hyped for that. I haven't even heard of that.
Wait, there's a Predator game coming out?
I haven't played a Predator game like ever. You
Last
think
Predator game I played was a 32 was a 16-bit, I think. So
what was that on Super Nintendo? Aliens vs. Predator?
yeah, it was just Predator. It was you were like Arnold or whatever, and it was a pretty blatant rip up of I don't want to say it was Mastermind. Master Blaster. I don't remember. Well, anyway, it was pretty well a rip off of Master Blaster.
Well,
but then again, you guys are too young for that. So.
JP says from the people that made the last Friday the 13th game, which I've heard good things about. That's good. By the way, if you're just joining us, 18 people, we're going to start at 8 o'clock. I just started the live stream a little bit early so we can chat it up with you all and get more people in here as we join in. I've sent invites to all the people that are going to be on the show, which include, let's see, we've got Dark Mark coming in, we've got Peter coming in, we've got Ashley coming in, and who am I forgetting? McNulty coming in.
And Javi.
And Javi, yeah. Did I send an invite to Javi? Let me look.
It'd be pretty funny if you
I
did.
did not. I did not send one to Javi. I got distracted by talking to y'all. Let me copy and paste this and send it to Javi. Message. And Javi now has it. So I got a little notice on this thing from YouTube that they said they're going to do away with Google Hangouts next month or something. So
Wait, they're just getting rid of it entirely, or
I guess so. I'm going to have to do. I saved the link. It's called YouTube live streaming /webcam. So I'm going to have to figure out how I can get you all with the new system.
we could switch. You could switch over to Twitch.
I don't know anything about Twitch.
You mind if I answer the question by Giorno? Because he asked if any of y'all are hyped for Phase 4.
If so, what movie are you most psyched for? Hopefully it comes with Phase 4. Well, Spider-Man 3.
Well, it's I'm the one I'm most excited. The ones that have been announced, at least. The one I'm excited for the most is Eternals, just because that would probably be more cosmic stuff. But because I saw the Black Widow set photos and Taskmaster looks god awful.
Oh.
And then they haven't announced anything for Shang-Chi yet. I've heard they're doing a Nova movie. I'm kind of excited for that. If that's actually true.
Yeah. Black Panther 2, Doctor Strange 2.
Actually, Doctor Strange 2 I've heard is going to be really. It has Nightmare and Clea in it, according to.
Oh well, there you go. There you go. Question for JR: what are your thoughts on Star Trek Discovery from Jonathan Lopez?
I was actually responding to him. The only episode I have seen,
the pilot.
Okay, I don't get CBS All Access. The only episode I see was the first episode with Captain Pike. They
hey Ashley, hey Mark.
How do you do, Dark Mark?
They put it free on YouTube, and I saw that one. And the first half of it was awful because it was everything I have heard. I tried to make up my own mind, but it was everything I had heard about Michael Burnham being a Mary Sue. I mean, at first it was just awful. I mean, she was always right about everything. Other experienced officers were all wrong. But then the second half was better. But to be honest, I don't watch it. I've seen clips here. I mean, I was surprised. The guy who was Spock was pretty good. I wouldn't mind. I mean, I wouldn't pay for it, but I wouldn't mind. I think they ought to go with a Pike. Number one, Spock
I think so too.
Pike, I love the guy who played Pike.
Pike was it just amazing. I mean, I thought, oh man, this guy was Black Bolt, so he's got to be a zero. But he nailed it.
And I like Sneakwa Martin Green, but I don't like the character they wrote around her.
No,
did you see the pilot, JR?
Pilot. Oh, of the Discovery.
Yeah. It was
No,
good.
no, I didn't.
It was really good. I liked season 1 a lot. I thought it was good. I'm looking forward to season 2. I'm also looking forward to Picard. MM0, we need crawl space t-shirts. As a gift this past Christmas, I sent the panelists crawl space t-shirts. I had them printed up locally. I might, if there's enough interest, I might.
Crawl space merch. Oh, whoa.
Crawl space merch.
Oh,
I might
man.
print up some more if you all want some. That'd be kind of fun. There's 3 people in the chat willing to buy one, it looks like. Ashley, what are you doing with your hair? What's up?
I had to get a shower, or rather, lack of shower. Our bath is not diverting the water to the shower. So if you
Oh.
want to shower at all this week, it's just got to be a bath.
You know,
Oh.
Brad, I mean, what kind of sensitive person are you? I mean, the only woman on our podcast, and you immediately ask her about her appearance. You are just unbelievably
For
sexist.
shame.
JR, your bullshit's breaking up.
Oh, no.
Hey, what's up, sir?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, good. You're wearing a crawl space shirt too. Look at that.
Heck
Am I the-
yeah.
Am I the only one who
Nice.
isn't?
Is Mark wearing a crawl space shirt?
Oh, thank God.
What are you
Okay.
wearing, Mark? What is that? Oh, it's a Spider-Man shirt. That's good.
Oh, God. Don't.
Is Ashley wearing a? I shouldn't comment on Ashley's appearance.
Nope.
Was she? Are you wearing a crawl space shirt, Ashley?
I am.
Oh, good. And Neil just went to go change. Enigma asked, "Did everyone just shower?" Ashley, before you got here, JR and I talked about we were doing lawn mowing and we just took showers.
Oh, wow.
Riveting broadcasting going on right now.
Tell you
What
the
a
plague of
coincidence.
the plight of being a homeowner. I swear.
Oh my gosh, man.
I tell you, when I retire, it's going to be apartment living.
Giorno wants crawl space Funko Pops. Now that would be funny.
Oh my God. Like, so we're the Funko Pops, like figures of us, of the
Yes.
channel.
You know, there's a section on Funko where you can make your own Funko Pop. You can't buy it, but that would be fun if we all did that.
There was
Mike,
some
what's up?
director Funko
Hey,
Pop
guys.
the other day I'd never even heard of.
Yeah,
I
Well,
there-
don't remember
I
his
had-
name, but
yeah.
I don't even know who this guy is, and he's got a pop.
oh, that's funny. I think there's a J.J. Abrams Pop.
Yeah, there definitely is.
Yeah. What's going on, Mike?
Well, I had a really interesting week. Probably can't talk about it too much without going off the record about some certain things, but it's potentially
Well,
exciting.
you're on the air.
I
you
know
getting
that's what I
married?
said. I'm not. I can't. No, it's not. I'm not getting married yet. I
Okay.
wish, but
That's the only thing.
it's nothing.
You're
It's,
gonna
not,
be
it's
father.
nothing.
No.
No. It's nothing. It's nothing like that. I've been well behaved. No, it's just
Okay,
it's just
good,
something.
good,
It has something to do with it. It may have potentially something to do with my reviewing potential. That's all. I mean, it's not. It's kind of was a
Oh.
little. I was a little apprehensive at first, but now it's like, oh, everything seems to be good. So,
Well, good
but
for you.
yeah, it's something I can't discuss on air. But it's it's potentially exciting. So
Good for you, dude.
we'll see. Yeah.
Heroing, how offended were you guys by the Peter Tingle? We'll talk about Peter Tingle when we
Oh.
review it. We'll talk
I
about that.
Seen
I
it.
indulged you. I indulged you, Brad.
Oh, Neil, thanks for changing. Very
Oh,
nice.
speaking of which, yeah, I just rushed in here because I still have my T-shirt. I should be wearing this thing, by the way. Do you mind if I go ahead and?
Just staple
Sign
it
off.
on your. Just staple
You're
it on
gonna
your
put your
shirt.
crawl space
Well,
shirt
you
on
can't even
too?
see me anyway. So you can't even see me wear it anyway because of my big giant head going up the screen. So I can just go like this. So I can just go like this
Oh, it's
just have it like a makeshift mask.
Was that a third rock from the sun reference?
that's
Big
funny.
giant
So-
head.
Yeah, it is. Yep, it was.
Who was
Very good,
Shatner?
very good, very good. JR.
Terry
Yes.
Zach had to work. We're waiting on Peter. Well, we probably
Mhm.
shouldn't because it's 8:03.
Well,
Is
wasn't
Peter?
Yeah,
And
I thought
he
Peter
also
was
didn't be
skipping
here
the live
until the
review.
reviews.
And
He's-
he didn't see the movie, did he?
He's what? What'd you
No.
guys say?
He's not coming
He didn't-
until you get to the comic book reviews.
Comic
Oh,
reviews,
okay. Yeah, he
'cause
didn't see.
yeah,
he
'cause
didn't see the
he didn't see the
Come
movie.
think of it. Well, I'm just
Yeah,
waiting around.
he like George refused to see it out of principle. Unlike us,
Okay.
The Chads.
right?
There you
Yeah,
go.
right.
All right. If you guys are ready, I will start. Again, remember, try not to talk over each other. We got a lot
Yeah.
of people, so if someone starts talking, don't try to jump on top of them. That sounds bad.
We got a
no,
YouTube.
no.
We got a YouTube link up, correct?
we did.
Oh my God,
We
Zach, your
do.
head is massive.
We do.
Oh, nope, not
All
Zach. Mike. Stop leaning
Yeah.
in.
Oh, you know what I should do? I should put it in the Discord. George
I can-
usually does. You want to do that, Neil?
Yeah, I'll do that. I got
Thank you,
Discord
sir.
Open anyways.
Put it in that Crawl Space podcast.
Yeah.
What do they call those? Threads or
Channels.
channels? That's right.
If anyone,
Channels, yeah.
so who here wants to hear the story before we go live about how I almost sold furniture to Zach,
We are live. Go ahead.
We are live,
or
dude.
before we start recording?
Just us guys and girls and 22 people watching. But go ahead. Before we start, how did you sell furniture to Zach? Go.
Okay, so in order to meet up at my house, Zach had to get my phone number so I could send him my address. And recently, I've been helping my mom purge her house of old furniture that we don't need. So I didn't have the foresight to save Zach's number under a contact, and I had a bunch of other contacts who I was getting rid of furniture with. And so, out of forgetting who Zach is as a person, I accidentally texted him saying, "Hey, so the armoire is yours if you want it." And he texts me, and Mike has heard this. He texts me and he says, "Neil, you have the wrong number. This is Zach." And I just wait a day later, and a day later I go, "Oh no, I'm just realizing how royally I screwed this up."
That's fine.
Yeah.
The
Well,
armoire-
most of
At least
us
you didn't
have
send him
trouble.
something like a. Yeah.
Now, most of us have trouble relating to Zach as a person anyway. So, there's really, you're okay.
Well, he likes
Right.
clones, so that's his
There you
fault.
go.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's just, and it could have been worse. You could have been sending like one of your embarrassing texts to your girlfriend and then basically accidentally send it to Zach. I mean,
That's
that, I mean, yeah. So,
Furniture's pretty tame.
yeah.
well,
pretty
that
much, yeah.
Well, that implies that I don't save my girlfriend's phone number under a contact. Unlike you, Michael, I'm not a player.
All right.
yeah.
To quote Michael Malo, no furniture stories. Okay. YouTube
The
channel.
Spider-Man furniture space. where
Yeah,
we
there you
review
go.
furniture.
We're moving,
Yeah.
moving broadcasting. Okay. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to do, I'll introduce the panel. I'll go around the horn, ask for your grade. We'll start with pros, cons, and I think I'll do an impromptu review like I did, synopsis, like I did for Endgame. I think people
Okay.
kind of like that. There you go. All right. Coming down 3, 2. Hey, Crawl Spacers, welcome to our Far From Home movie review. Let's introduce the panel. We've got Mike. What's going on, Mike?
Hey guys, happy to be here. Talking about Iron Boy Far From Spider-Man.
Did you
I-
create that last month, or who created that?
I think I just blurted that out, and then Peter just ran with it because
Yeah,
it's like,
that was pretty good. Far From
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
which
That's
is
fun.
kind of accurate to this film, is it not?
Well, we'll get
Yeah,
there. We'll
sort
get
of,
there.
We'll get there.
Let's
yeah.
keep introducing the panel. We've got Mark. What's going on, Mark?
Hey, just came back from watching it a second time.
A second time. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mhm.
And we have JR. What's going on, JR?
Well, I couldn't bring my expert on teenage behavior with me. He's at a show choir camp, but I'll do my best. I'll do my best as an old man to muddle through this and not appear too cranky or get off my lawnish.
At your newly mowed lawn, as we talked about earlier before we started rolling. Did Spencer like the film?
Well, we'll
Oh, okay. We'll talk.
we'll
about it
get
when we
into that. Yeah.
And we have Javi. What's up, Javi?
Hey, Spider friends.
There you go. Would that make you Iceman? Because
God,
you're
I
cool.
hope not.
I don't know. What Spider friend do you want to be?
Spider-Man.
Well, Spider-Man.
of
Well,
course.
I thought I'd take that one. Okay.
well,
never
I
mind.
mean, yeah, but
I mean, I'm gay for Spider-Man, so you know
You-
what?
you-
It all worked out in the end.
we could have clones in the Amazing Friends. We've have Ashley. What's going on, Ashley?
Hey, I got a pun for you, Brad.
Ashley, Oh, I'm ready. Hit me.
Okay, so Jack and I are watching The Bachelorette. One of the contestants, his name is Connor S. He looks uncannily like a super tall, beefed up version of Tom Holland. We call him Tom Tolland.
Oh no.
I saw a funny. It was like a pun, but it was a meme, and there were all these witches for Halloween, and then this guy was dressed in a can, and on the front it said "Man Witch." I thought that was absolutely hysterical. Thought that was really funny. And we have Neil. What's going on, Neil?
I have a hot dog. It's plain and bland, just like this movie.
Wow. Well, that's the first hot dog entrant. Probably
Yeah, I didn't
not,
want to hear
actually.
about his hot dog. To be honest.
It's an absolute
You know?
sausage fest here.
Is this like related to the Peter Tingle or anything?
No.
You know?
Anyway,
Stop
that's a
saying
real
that.
wiener. Okay, dad jokes. There'll be a lot more. Okay, so we're gonna give grades before we get into any of this other stuff. So let's go around the horn and give grades. Let's start with Ashley first. Ashley, what's your grade on the film?
I'm gonna start this off on a high note with a D plus.
Oh, wow.
Did you say D or B?
D, as in dead, like my soul.
Oh, wow.
But it gets 10 out of 10
Okay.
Mysterios.
Okay,
That's
there you
that-
yes.
You know,
Feel
she
the
wasn't
positive
like
energy
that
here,
before she
folks.
she
Come
wasn't
on.
like that before she got married.
go.
I mean,
Oh no,
When
this
in
is
doubt-
what he got married to.
oh, that's funny. Javi, we have a D. What is your grade?
I'm gonna go C plus. I wanted to say B minus, but I'm thinking it's probably C plus. It depends on what happens the next time I watch it, how I feel about it.
Yeah. Okay, we have a D and a C. Are we going up or down, JR?
I'm going to give it a solid B.
A B out of JR. Wow. All right.
What did
Not
JR
bad,
give
not bad.
Spider-Verse?
Even with this movie, J.R. remains our constant contrarian.
I know JR is so happy-go-lucky.
It's
I've given it
the
the lowest
age.
grade so far.
Mhm.
It's the dementia.
Yeah, well, I tell you, Ashley, you're just so dark. That soul of yours. All right. Dark Mark, what do we give it?
I'm gonna see JR's B rating an A.
An A.
Yes.
We have consistently gone up from a D, C, B, A.
Okay.
Let's see if Mike can go to an A plus or farther down the scale.
We're gonna go back down the scale, Brad. We're gonna. It's gonna be. I'm actually in agreement with Javi here. It's gonna be. It's a C plus, very close to B minus. So it's kind of really straddling that line. I'm still kind of back and forth a little bit on it, but yeah.
Okay, D, C, B, A, C. Neil, what do we got?
So in the theater, I thought it was a B plus, but then when I went outside and started using my brain, it was a B minus.
Yeah.
That happened.
Okay,
that
okay,
happens
B
a lot.
minus.
So you're saying you don't carry it with you everywhere?
Not his American Express
No,
card.
JR, there's a phrase for that. Don't think, consume product, and then get excited for next product.
All right, my grade is a C. So I'm closer to Javi and Ashley. So several people wrote in and they said, hey, I liked your impromptu summation, Brad, of Endgame. So I'm going to try to do my best off the cuff summation of what happened in the movie. All right.
Okay.
So we sit through 30 minutes of previews.
Yeah.
And then Nick Fury comes in with a license plate, I think's referencing Sandman, probably. We see Sandman coming in, or allegedly Sandman, and Mysterio comes in, and roll to the Bodyguard soundtrack pops in with Whitney Houston singing a Dolly Parton song. What is that? I Will Always Love You.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
opening scene before we see Spider-Man is Tony Stark. We have a montage of a school report with Betty Brant, and I don't know the other anchor kid's name.
Jason
I think
Iannello.
it's Jason.
Iannello.
Jason
It was
L.A.
Jason.
Jason, is that a character from the comics?
He's
I've never
from
heard.
Untold
Yes.
Tales. of
Untold Tales
Spider-Man.
of Spider.
Oh, well, there you
Yeah.
go. Very nice.
Jason.
So
Jason?
we get a little summation of what happened in Endgame, where they call it the blip, which sounds like a skit from the Electric Company, a villain from the Electric Company, if you will. Which I don't understand. 5 years have passed, and when they return in the exact same spot where they were. But when you see them playing basketball, they appear right on the court where they were playing, which I don't understand.
Yep.
So what happened?
Well,
was-
no, it's Yeah, go ahead, Neil.
So what happened was that I think after the movie came out, the Russo brothers confirmed that when Hulk unsnapped everything, he put everyone back in like a safe place to make sure that no one coming back just died of lack of oxygen in space.
Okay.
Because I was wondering about that, because if they reappeared in the exact same spot that they were snapped out of existence, wouldn't they be like literally raining men and women from like the sky if they were like in an airplane?
Oh yeah, that
That they-
helicopter. That
Oh, God.
helicopter. Yeah, that,
Yeah.
that helicopter end credit scene. Hope they respawned in there.
Yeah, right. Because it was like, oh, there's a bunch of guys falling.
And
down
we
from the
learned
sky. Yeah.
conveniently that almost all of the Spider-Man supporting cast were blipped. We have Aunt May, we have MJ, we have Ned, we have who else am I missing? Flash,
Betty, Flash.
Flash.
Brad.
Yeah. By the way, that's before we get to cons. That's a big con. Why did they make a bad guy named Brad? Come on now. That ticked me off. The whole
Amazing,
you've been
Amazing Spider-Man number 188.
You've been
I-
a loyal
Yep,
company
good
man.
Isn't Brad the guy that MJ's on the boat with?
Yeah.
With the
Yep.
tarantula.
I think that's
Mm,
The
Yeah.
Jigsaw.
Maybe so.
Yeah. All right. So Brad has a thing. He's aged 5 years, has a thing for MJ. We discover that Peter also has a thing for MJ. We don't know why he has a thing for MJ. It's never explained.
Reasons.
Nope.
Between what happened in the blip, did he flirt with her in the blip? I don't know why.
No, because remember, it's 8 months after the blip. When the blip is when they all came
Well, a
back.
lot
It's 8 months
happened
later after.
during those 8 months
Yeah.
that he suddenly has feelings for this character he's never had feelings before. But
Well, you
this
got to
is-
remember they repeated
love
the entire
Oscar
sophomore
Isaac.
year over. So
There is another thing. It's been about 2 years. Infinity War takes place, I think, 2 years after Civil War. So by now, Peter should technically be a junior. So it's
Okay.
even more confusing.
Okay, so he's got a thing
Wow.
for MJ. They get on a boat. They go. I forget all the locations that they go to.
Venice was the
Uh,
first one.
Venice. Then
Prague.
the
Frog.
Prague.
well, let's talk about
Um,
Venice. Venice is the one
yeah.
with the alleged Hydro Man, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So we've got that fight. Electro comes in. Electro saves the
Electro.
day.
Electro. What is his
Electro.
AS?
Oh,
Amazing
I'm sorry. I
Spider-Man
got Jamie
2?
Foxx on the
Don't
brain.
you know?
Mysterio, get it right, Brad.
Oh,
You're
sorry, sorry.
Spider-Man cred now.
Sorry. I forgot to mention that. Tony Stark left Peter some glasses called Edith. Even in death, I'm the hero. I think is what
Yep.
Edith stands for.
Even dead, I'm the hero.
Even dead, I'm the hero.
Makes me sad.
Peter says, "You know what? Of course, he didn't mean for them to go to me. I'm just a 16-year-old kid. I'm going to give them to this guy that looks like Mysterio with the fishbowl in the head.
That I've only known for like 2 days.
Loaned for 2
Yeah.
days. I'm sure Tony would be cool with it. You know, he created Ultron. He's cool with villains. So
It probably
he
is
hands the
something Tony would
glasses.
do, to be fair.
Yeah, he hands the glasses to Electra. Good grief, Mysterio. Mysterio. I don't know why I've got Electra on the brain. Hands him to Mysterio. Mysterio, the bar fades out. We learn that Mysterio is working with the guy from Iron Man 1 and JR. The line.
Yes.
The line. I thought of you instantly. Go ahead. What was the line?
I can't. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Tony Stark built the same thing in a cave with a box of scraps.
That's it. That's the line. I said, well, there's JR.
I
He'll
thought
love
I
that.
just saw an empty pit in JR's eyes when he like zoomed
I
in on
know.
the camera.
Yeah, can you imagine JR delivering that line to your face multiple takes? I bet Jeff
Oh my
Bridges did
God.
that to that actor.
I thought that it was like, boy, I'm going to be asked to replay that.
Oh, I know. I thought of you instantly, JR.
But I didn't realize that guy was Ralphie. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Ralphie from A Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, he-
Peter Billingsley.
Yeah. He and Favreau are cronies. Yeah, they do a lot of stuff.
Oh,
together.
that's
It
hysterical.
totally it doesn't look anything like him though. That's wild.
Well, it's been 30 years, man. Okay,
That's true, yeah, but-
Mysterio's all happy. I've got Tony Stark's glasses. I'm a Tony Stark employee. Cut to the flashback of Civil War, where he created the
Barf. The hologram technology.
hologram technology. BARF. What does BARF stand for again?
I think something about the brain. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Anyway, BARF.
Look
He
it up
gets-
on Google.
Did he get fired from Stark Industries because he didn't?
Yes,
want
he
to
did.
make
He-
BARF? Okay.
He was because he was unstable.
Okay. So
yeah.
all of Tony Stark's employees working on BARF with Mysterio are let go. They're ticked off. So they're going to make their own hero. So they're making Electro. So they're going to make all these illusions.
Electro?
Brad. Dude,
That's
man, just
pretty
call him
great.
just call him Beck. It would be much simpler
Back.
that way.
Okay. I'm just.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm saying Electro. I really don't.
Now he's gonna start saying Dylan.
Right. Yeah.
And Mysterio was my favorite part of the film too. I'm
Well,
surprised at them.
Yeah. Same.
While we're at it, let's just start calling Peter.
Okay,
Brad now.
so what do we got? We got the Molten Man fight, I think.
Mhm.
No, the Molden fight happens before Peter gives his magical glasses to Beck.
Okay. So we also
Yeah.
have Nick Fury says that you need to help Mr. Beck fight these elementals.
Mhm.
And he says, you can't have Spider-Man appear overseas, so let me make you a suit that looks like the Spider-Man Noir suit. And so he does that. And they fight Molten Man, and MJ finds a little bit of holographic technology that flies off in the fight. What else happens? We discover MJ and Peter. MJ says, "You know what? I think I know you're Peter Parker." So
Or
I
Spider-Man. Yeah.
I do know, Peter. I know you're Peter Parker. I know you're hiding something. So that was actually, I kind of liked that, how she figured that out a little bit. That's my first redeeming thing about MJ. What else happens? So the little holographic thing projects, and Spider-Man learns that Mysterio is indeed faking all these fights, and he can't believe that he left the glasses that Tony Stark gave him. So then, what else happens? Then they fight. We have a nice Mysterio montage of Spider-Man fighting Mysterio and all the holograms, which is really cool. We have Mysterio launch all the satellite drones from Stark's satellite. We've got Happy Hogan, who's been hitting on Aunt May the whole film, shows up in a jet and says, you know what, you can make a suit in the back. So Spider-Man becomes Iron Man Jr. and starts using his technology with his hands, builds him a suit that looks like the original Ditko suit that's red and black.
He 3D prints a suit, and I'll talk about that
does.
later.
And so the big fight happens. We've got very cool fight sequence with the drones and Spider-Man and Mysterio fighting. And the finale ends with Mysterio on the ground. Spider-Man uses his Peter Tingle, which we'll talk about later, and discovers that Mysterio is faking that he lost and dodges a bullet. Then roll credits. I think pretty much we've got a kiss. We've got a kiss on the bridge with MJ and Peter.
Now, where's the goblin?
There's no goblin. There's a bridge. There's no goblin. What else do we have? We have roll credits. My favorite scene in the whole film is J. Jonah Jameson, J.K. Simmons appearing.
Yes.
DailyBugle.net. Love that a lot. I love that a lot. We also have a pretty nice swinging sequence with MJ and Peter throughout New York City. I think that was actually, it would look like a GoPro on the front of them. It looked really cool.
Yeah.
Like Zendaya looked really scared, and I've seen clips, and she was harnessed up and she was swinging a little bit. Anyway, that was a cool shot. Cut to the Daily Bugle on the screen. Mysterio made a fake little video. It says Peter Parker Spider-Man because that dumb kid can't stop sharing his identity with everybody. Every villain, he says, hey, you know what? Hey, let me just take off my mask. I'm Peter Parker. And then at the end, we reveal that the Skrulls was really Nick Fury and Maria Hill, which that really didn't do a damn thing for me. Okay, so that's
you watch
the recap.
Captain Marvel. That's the thing.
I did watch Captain Marvel, and I was like, oh, what's that?
Yeah, but that would have been like Captain Marvel took place, what, 20 years before this movie?
Yeah, they're probably setting up something like Sword.
The Skrulls have been here the whole time. That's kind of the implication. Is what they're trying to say.
Let's go through the pros. Let me pick someone to start off with pros. Who gave it the highest grade was Mark. Mark, you should have the most pros. Let me hear some of your high pros.
Well, Mysterio stuff is just absolutely perfect, but I'll let other people go into that one. I really, I mean, I liked pretty much everything in the movie. I thought it was one of the better Spider-Man movies that we've had. I know it's not the 616 Peter Parker that many people want, but I mean, we had that with the Tobey Maguire, and I like this one. I thought it was funny. We needed a funny one after that end game. I thought they handled that 5-year blip as best they could. I mean, they were saddled with that monstrosity of a plot bomb there, and they did it and moved on and got on with the story, and I liked it.
What did you think of MJ this time around? She had a little bit more to do.
Yeah, I liked her a lot better this time around than I did in Homecoming. I thought that their relationship seemed a little bit more genuine. It's still not the Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone, chemistry, but I thought there was some there. I liked the fact that their kiss was awkward. You're not going to get another iconic kiss like you got with
why not
with the upside down kiss. I mean, that
the
was something
upside down kiss is epic.
Yeah.
And why not try to do something as epic? Just a little awkward smooch on a bridge is not trying.
Well, because
I think they went.
Well, I'm sorry,
ahead.
Mark. If you can't top it, then I guess their line of thinking is if you can't top it, then why try?
Well,
I
why
think we want
don't
these characters to be more innocent. They're trying to get us to see them more as kids and not showing off a steamy kiss between a couple of high schoolers.
Yeah.
You mean adults
so I can
pretending to be
see them
high
playing that
schoolers?
angle a little more.
Mark, my one of my problems with it is I don't feel that the relationship with MJ and Peter is natural. I haven't seen them flirting at all. He barely notices her in the last movie. It seems very forced to me that suddenly MJ is the girl for him. Why did it work for you, Mark?
Well, I'm around high schoolers all the time, and they don't need a lot to. I've been around high schoolers all the time, a lot longer than you have.
Oh, well, that's true.
I see this all the time. They just,
just like a Thanos snap, they're in love, right?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Well, I guess
And we've had a whole school year for them to be flirting that we didn't get a chance to see.
that's true. Okay, that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
I just don't think it should be off screen.
I agree. We need a little something that attracts the two of them together.
Show don't tell.
Yeah, stay and see. We have at least with Mary Jane in the comics, well, at least if you go with the retcon with Parallel Lives, she saw him come out of the window when Uncle Ben died in a Spider-Man suit. But that.
Well, this is MJ, but it's not Mary Jane. And if you keep trying to get her like she's Mary Jane, you're going to always hate it. And Peter is going to always hate this movie because it's MJ, but it's not Mary Jane. If you're looking for that, you're not going to get it.
I get where you're coming from, Mark. I think the problem is that Sony/Marvel Studios can't commit to it. They want to go halfway on both sides, but they can't decide on what they want. So I think that's what's getting a lot of people ticked off is that Sony and Marvel can't decide what they want, so they're going for something that doesn't really work by going halfway.
Yeah, and if you didn't have the last 10 years with just disrespecting Mary Jane fans in the comic books, I don't think people would have as big of a problem with Michelle Jones being called MJ. But I think it's just feels like another insult. I don't think the people in the movie meant it that way, but they weren't aware, I guess.
All right, the other person that had the highest grade was JR. I want to hear some of your pros, JR.
Oh Lord, I just feel like here I am. I'm instead of sitting around griping and hating something, and everybody else loves it. Now I find myself in an odd position of having to defend something that I like better than
everyone is entitled to their opinion. I mean, feel free, JR. I'm happy you liked it.
Well, first of all, let me tell you what tell you about Spencer.
Sure.
And he didn't tell me exact. I mean, he's 17. I mean, it's like if I ask him any direct questions, he won't really give me a direct answer.
And I think this movie's aimed at his age group.
I could tell. I mean, I could tell that he really, really related to it.
Okay.
but as far as the specific things he liked it better than Homecoming. He liked Mysterio better than for some reason the whole Mysterio betrayal angle appealed to him more than like the Vulture, for example, who was, who came in. But it was just, I mean, I could just tell. I mean, it just really spoke to him. I guess he really related to the position that Tom Holland is in, or Spider-Man is in. And, Spencer just recently got dumped. Which is about when you're 17 years old. I mean, that is catastrophic. The world might as well be coming to an end. So anyway, that kind of actually influenced my opinion a little bit. I mean, because Spencer, I mean, he knows canon. I mean, so he knows what are all the violations.
He knew the Mysterio swap was coming.
Oh,
switch.
Yeah. It's so anyway, so that partly influenced my opinion, just kind of seeing his reaction to it. But I mean, what did I like about it? J.K. Simmons.
Oh yeah.
And there were little things. I mean, it was fun. I mean, it was kind of like I don't want to say I don't want to get down on the Raimi movies. I really don't. Sam Raimi was the perfect director to bring us Spider-Man originally, but like the Amazing Spider-Man films were kind of grim, particularly the second one. And it was apparent, like in Spider-Man 3, that Toby was getting tired of the character, and and this was just kind of fun. I mean, I even liked the Go-Go's at the end, and the half Peter, half Tom Holland, half Spider-Man thing.
There was Go-Go's. What are you talking about?
Yeah, Vacation. They were singing Vacation at the end during the end credits.
Oh, the animation. Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, I thought again the Mysterio special effects. I mean, I thought nods to the comic book. I thought I saw a giant hand.
You did. Time. There was a giant hand coming out of that.
I would have liked to have seen the giant hand go down, like that, like the cover of '66. But still, there was a giant hand, the multiple Mysterios, and then the snow globe scene was inspired.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was great.
That was awesome.
We've been talking for years how Mysterio would be cool on film, and it was.
And there's one villain, and he was the only villain. I mean, he had,
unless you count Dimitri the chameleon that was driving the bus.
Well, we'll see. That's what I thought was ISIS. It's supposed to be.
By the way, my theory, this is how we get around the reveal of Peter Parker as Spider-Man. Mysterio is going to be revealed as the villain, along with probably Craven, if I had to guess. And Peter will be like, well, it was Mysterio this whole time that was pretending it was me.
Or if Dimitri's the chameleon, then maybe the chameleon.
Yeah. I actually think that now that we have Jonah and we also have Matt Gargan established, that Scorpion will be the big bad of whatever Spider-Man 3 is. Spider-Man Far From Canon.
And I have to admit, I like the Night Monkey joke. I don't know why.
That was
I love Night Monkey. But it was just
Night Monkey was great.
When Betty is yelling, "Hey, Night Monkey, and I'm just sitting there.
Yeah, that was funny. That was
So I mean, that was. I mean, I hate to say it, I liked it.
My question to JR, because you're a Spider-Man purist, been reading it for 75 years, I imagine.
All right. That's how you're stealing Barrowman's material now.
I have a problem with this Tony Stark and the MJ thing. I don't know why I can't get over it. Mainly because there's so much damn Stark in it.
We haven't gotten to cons yet. So
I know. Well, I mean, how is the Stark stuff preventing it from being an A for you?
Yes.
Okay.
That is part of it. There's still. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get too much into cons, but I feel like we're still haven't seen a true pure Spider-Man movie.
Exactly. We're 2 in, and I want one.
Right.
I after the teaser, I want to see Spider-Man 3 more than I do the one I just watched. That was my big problem.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I'm listening to you guys, and I'm reading all the comments here.
Oh yeah.
And I don't disagree with people's complaints. I mean, I really don't. I can see why, it was just on the whole, the balancing act, I liked it. But, as we get into cons, I mean, I'll probably have the same cons as everybody else.
Jonathan is surprised that you went so high. He goes, "No, JR, you were the chosen one."
Well, see, George should have showed up. That's the problem.
George would have demolished it. If I had the high ground. if I'm giving it a C, George would have given it an F, guaranteed.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
guaranteed. Who else would like to go next for pros?
I'll take it.
Neil, what's some pros out of you?
I do enjoy how they tonally balance the teen comedy with the superhero summer action flick aspects. I feel like they nailed down both that and the pacing, so they never felt like they were intertwining too much, but they had enough time together that it didn't feel like watching two separate movies.
That's
it did
actually
do a
one
good
of them.
job.
Right.
Oh, go
That's
ahead.
one of the-
Go ahead, Ashley.
I'll go into
What
it
was
more
your
with the cons, but
Okay.
I
I actually, my
disagree
favorite
with
part
that
is when
balance.
Spider-Man's personal life interferes with his superhero life, and this
Mhm.
did a pretty good.
Mhm.
It did a pretty good job of it. I mean,
Yeah.
the Flash on the bus. I mean, the bomb at Brad on the bus,
Mhm.
knocking Flash out. That was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the theory about Flash, by the way?
Yeah, that what is it that his parents had like some kind
So-
of connection to Venom?
Yeah. So you know the guy
What?
in the Venom movie that
I gotta
created
get
the
that Venom.
Venom
Wow.
symbiote that died. That is Flash's dad, and when Flash returned home, Mom and Dad aren't there. He just had the
Oh.
butler holding the sign.
Wow.
So they think they're going to connect
Okay.
Flash's dad to the Venom movie, which I don't know. I don't think that's
Okay.
awful, but
Okay.
So the whole
All
time
right.
we're laughing
Um,
about how Flash just keeps trying to talk to his mom and because she's not actually there, and he'll never
I
see her
know.
again.
Mhm.
I like Flash live streaming all the time. I think that's hello Flash Mom. I think I think it's a nice
Oh
moment.
my
I'll
God.
talk about that later.
Ashley, I haven't heard pros out of you. What's some pros?
I really like Zendaya. I think
Yeah.
we got to see a lot more dimension out of her this time. We got to see more emotion from her than the usual misanthropic commentary, which I think she played really well in Homecoming and it worked then. But this was a movie that required her to show a little more nuance. She needed to show a little more personality, different dimensions of that. And she really delivered. I think she's a really great actress. I liked her role a lot in the movie. I adore her for dragging that mace all the way across the bridge. I'm like, why are you dropping it now? You carried
By the
it
way,
all
the
the way here. It's yours.
The Zendaya
Keep it.
pop
I
comes
better
with that
see it in the
mace in
next
her hand,
movie.
by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I will agree with that. I
Good.
am glad that we got to see Zendaya for more than 5 minutes and give her an actual personality besides just.
Did
Her
they give
being
her a
there?
personality? That's
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah,
they
they
did.
did.
Mary. It's not Mary
More so
Jane.
than
I'll
they
give
did
you
in
that.
Homecoming.
No, it's Michelle
Well, I
Jones.
think it's that what they gave her, she was able to do a lot
It's sort
with.
of like,
What's some other pros?
I
No,
like
I was going to
Mysterio a
Ashley.
lot.
Ashley's not done.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Mysterio, everything about Mysterio is amazing. It was like everything that he realized, the way they did him realize all the potential that we had hoped for to see in Mysterio in a movie. Just all the different illusions, the mind tricks, the all around deceit and deception going on. That was all really cool, and that was probably where I felt the most emotionally gripped during the movie,
Mhm.
when Peter realized just how out of his element he was, that he was completely overwhelmed, both physically because he couldn't really get a sense of what was going on around him, and then emotionally because he's a little kid playing in, a man's world and getting used as a total pawn in that. So I think those are the moments that worked best in the movie.
Yeah.
Aside from that, J.K. Simmons was great.
you have to tell him. You have to tell him to not be great. That's how good he is.
I know.
Yeah, he's so good. Let's see.
I've got one.
Okay, go ahead, Javi. What's some pros that we haven't talked about?
And we kind of touched on it a little bit, but just the end where he finally got to be Spider-Man in like Manhattan, swinging through all the buildings. That's the
Yeah.
first time we really saw Tom Holland do that, and I kind of felt like it was a little bit of a nod to the game when he's swinging by and he grabs his camera to do a selfie. So
Yes,
I tried to
definitely.
recreate that right away as soon as I got
Yep.
home.
Mhm.
And the way that they introduced Jonah with the video, it sets up, because we've always seen Jonah like rally against Spider-Man, and maybe in the Raimi movies there's like that one guy who's like, he stinks and I hate him, but you never
Mhm.
got a sense really that the public at large felt Spider-Man was a menace. It was just Jonah being crazy. But with the video of him killing Mysterio, it kind of set up a third one to actually have that dynamic. I was just reading the Joey Z storyline or the start of it the other day, and I thought that was a nice dovetail to have someone who just helped save all of reality, and now for people to not trust him. And then they kind of threw that away by revealing his identity. So I don't know where they're going to go with that, but I thought that was a cool little nod and a way to do things. And then I liked, as much as I didn't want to see Iron Man in the movie, I did like the zombified version of him in the Illusion, because I felt like that's the closest we're going to get to seeing a Marvel Zombies movie anytime soon.
That was cool. Who else? Mike, we haven't heard from your pros. What's some pros you liked about the movie?
Now, even though I kind of gave this kind of a C plus B minus thing, I still enjoyed watching the movie. I mean, it's competently made. It's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I laughed at all the blip parts, even though until I realized the horrific implications involved. I mean, you're kind of thinking of, especially that one story about how Mr. Harrison, is it? The one about when he's telling Peter's like, oh yeah, my wife basically pretended she was blipped.
Yeah.
We even felt a beautiful everything and everything like this, and all the scams that people were trying to pull, you get that kind of implication there. But again, Mysterio, I've always kind of said that Mysterio would be great. He's one of my favorite, of the high tier B-list. I don't know if you would consider B-list or not, but he's not in the same category as Doc Ock and Green Goblin, but he's definitely one of my favorites. And I like how they.
I classify it as low A-list or high B-list.
Yeah. I mean, but I liked how they visualized him, and I think everybody knew going into this thing, all knew that he was going to turned out to be a villain. I mean, nobody was surprised by that. What did surprise me about it was the fact that Mysterio was not an individual but a corporation. That you basically, and what I wish the film played more with is that, how in Mysterio in the comics is supposed to be kind of like his background is supposed to be a special effects, a makeup guy. In this film, he's a director, because he literally, think about it, he literally has a guy doing all the effects. He's got the screenwriter, he's got a screenwriter, he's got a costume person with doing the cape and everything like this. So he's got a whole team of people working around him and everything, like even the outfit he's wearing, his illusion and stuff like that. And I liked how they kind of incorporated that aspect of it, like how they explained all the tech involved. And so I liked the scene where, especially what really stood out for me was where he's standing there and he's reviewing the footage. He says, okay, no, go back, rewind and everything like this. He's literally directing the scene, which I thought, oh, that's perfect. The scene also with him and Spider-Man with that class, that very, it envelops all that illusion stuff like this. It would have been better if it had been Uncle Ben's grave rather than Iron Man's. But again, it's a classic scene. I do think in terms of Paul Holland's performance, he's very believable as kind of a teenage Peter Parker. And also the idea where he's kind of feels like he's conflicted, like he's getting to a point where, I don't know if I really want to be kind of step up in this larger scale role. Why can't I be more the neighborhood guy that I wanted, to be? Like he's kind of realizing that he's been placed with this complete burden of responsibility. He just wants to be, can I just take a break and be a normal kid just for once, kind of thing? I like that kind of angle that he's going with. Yeah.
Does he not have the responsibility to go save the world?
Well, he still wants to be Spider-Man, but at the same time, it's one of those things where you do get to a point where, people in sort of like high stress kind of situations, occasionally things do get to you. You do eventually I kind of understood the idea that he wanted to take a break. And although, it was kind of like, feel like, oh, let somebody else try with it. There can get a point where you kind of realize that I just feel like I'm just being, he's literally saying, it was like, I've got too much on, you're too much expectations. I just feel like, can't I just have a vacation? Can I just, you think, but yeah.
I'm totally on board with that, Mike, like totally, like 100%, until he actually turned his back on something happening right then. Just saying, now y'all can deal with this. That was what
that is a good point.
Yeah.
That is a good point. And there is there's also potential con about the way, there's another potential con that we're going to get to about Spider-Man in this, which which
Actually,
we'll discuss. But
that
yeah.
I had a problem with, and my favorite Spider-Man movie is Spider-Man 2, and that has an out of character moment too, where he has lost his powers. He walks past a guy getting mugged in an alley, and he just keeps walking by. That
It's
is just
framed as being out of
This
character.
one was definitely
So,
completely
I-
different.
Yeah.
If I may, as much as I didn't, as much as I didn't feel it needed to happen, I appreciated the idea of in Homecoming Peter rejecting the Avengers membership and saying like, "Oh, I need to be out there for the little guy." As much as it shouldn't have had to happen, I'm glad that it happened. But and then they continue, and then they kind of regress that in Infinity War. He's like, "Oh, Mr. Stark is supposed like a new card here,"
Mhm.
and then I'm glad that at least John Watts is keeping his own film vision consistent, where Peter is wanting to stay within the confines of being just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but eventually just has to step up because it's the right thing to do.
I also will point out one more pro. I do agree
Okay.
with, I think consensus is the return of J.K. Simmons as Jonah
yeah.
was great and totally unexpected. Really like that, though sadly his flat top will be missed. And but I
I'm
love
fine.
but I love the reinterpretation, as somebody in the comment section pointed out. He's basically the MCU's equivalent of Alex Jones, which I thought
Oh
was
my
great.
God.
Yep. I think I got everybody except me, right?
Well, can I get on one thing?
Oh yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Dark Mark, yeah.
I think the his wanting just to walk away and let Mysterio handle it is a lot different from the Spider-Man 2, because there was nobody to help that guy in the alleyway.
It's true.
Spider-Man here, he's not wanting to be the next Iron Man. Yeah, everybody loves to jump on this about, oh, he's Iron Man Jr. He doesn't want to be that. He wants to get out now and be his own person. And he doesn't want to be this, Avengers Shield guy who's taking on world, level threats. And you've got somebody there who can handle it. Spider-Man has not really. This is out of his league if they're truly elementals that are, can burn out through the world core like that. This isn't. That's not his. What is Webb's going to do? He's jumping around and punch molten, elemental. He's not going. He can't handle that. So
He's a kid from Queens.
He's a kid from Queens, and I think he just wanted to get out of that range there.
Couple things in YouTube chat. Nick is been listening to the Crawl Space for years. This is his first live chat. It says, "Nice to put voices to the face. Keep up the great podcasting." So welcome, Nick. JR, you've betrayed us. JP Third says.
Hey, I've been on this podcast for 12 years now. I got to keep things interesting. I can't get too predictable.
Well,
You know?
that's true. JR is unpredictable. Let's see. What else is YouTube saying? This is not Earth 616. It's Earth 19999. I think that. Let's see. Anyway, pros out of me. What did I like? I liked the license plates on the cars. I thought that was a nice little homage to the longtime fans, or myself. I don't think we've mentioned that. Mysterio's effects we've mentioned. I thought they were all epic. I actually thought Stark Tech worked in the instance of Mysterio's origin. It made sense in a modern movie that holographic projectors work in 2019 as opposed to being a makeup special effects artist from the 60s. Mysterio's altered origin makes sense in today's world, and I thought that worked. And connecting it to Stark, I guess, was okay. But this is the second villain attached to Stark. We've got the Vulture attached to Stark. We've got Mysterio now attached to Stark.
And Shocker.
And Shocker, and I don't think, and Scorpion, and
not Scorpion, because Scorpion's more just. I think he's just one of the
Scorpion
guys
was one
buying
of the
weapons.
goons. Was one of Vulture's goons.
No, he
No,
was buying
trying to
weapons
buy
from
weapons.
Vulture.
Yeah, but if you also think about almost every MCU villain, every one of them has a connection to Iron Man.
It's
Oh,
true.
no.
Yeah.
If Iron Man didn't save everybody from the snap, he'd be a villain.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He's done more bad than good, with the exception of bringing us all back. Well, not us, but we didn't get blipped.
He's created all his
Nope.
own villains, but Thanos.
Exactly. Very
And
true.
What about
very true.
What about Jan Rog?
Red Skull, he didn't. Well, no, Red Skull, he didn't create. That's the one.
Hey,
that's
Javi,
one
wiggle
exception.
your mic input a little bit. You're a little staticky for some reason. What else did I like that we haven't mentioned? I think I mentioned I liked the MJ Spider-Man swinging GoPro shot. I thought that was very cool. I don't know if I like both films ending on what the f.
Yeah,
Both
If that's gonna
films
be the-
ended with the what the f.
It's tiring.
I
Thank
don't.
goodness they didn't do it like Peter Norbert thought they were going to do it.
What do you
with,
think they're going to do?
Oh, yeah.
Aunt May and Happy. Were
Oh
gonna be in
God,
bed, and
yeah, yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Peter
no.
walked in.
Stop
What
right
the-
there.
no.
That would have
Nope.
Happy and Aunt May in bed. Yeah, you don't want that. That would have been a what the. With the exception of that, I don't have many other pros. All right, let's move on.
I have one addition that we haven't mentioned yet.
Okay, go ahead.
We've said a lot about Mysterio's effects and his role in the movie. Jake Gyllenhaal's performance as Quentin Beck was everything I'd hoped for.
Oh yeah.
He
Yeah.
nailed it.
It was good. He has big shoes to fill with Michael Keaton. I don't think he topped Michael Keaton's performance, but he did do a good job.
What was
Yeah,
also
he
good?
topped
What,
I
I don't know if
beg to
anyone.
differ.
I don't know if anyone kind of caught this or kind of felt this way, but looking at the way they kind of made up Gyllenhaal with him, gave him that kind of that 5 o'clock shadow thing and all that stuff, and also I was thinking that they purposely tried to make him look like a cross between Peter Parker and Tony Stark, essentially, because after all, Jake Gyllenhaal was supposed to be a Spider-Man in the Raimi movies.
Mm-hmm.
And also the fact that they purposely kind of, gave him kind of the stubble thing to try to make him more kind of Stark-like. And so
Especially
I
when you
thought
put those glasses
maybe
on
visually
first time.
oh yeah, very much so. And that's totally intentional because that's where Peter gets that kind of, he's thinking like, oh, this guy kind of reminds me of Tony. And so the idea that they kind of like that Mysterio kind of visually kind of like without his fishbowl helmet looks like kind of a cross between Peter and Tony. I thought that was kind of a nice little touch that the film did with making visual.
Terry
visual
James in
language there.
YouTube chat
So,
says, "Hey Jr.,
yeah.
what if Norman Osborn is connected to Stark, and Osborn steals Stark Industries? What do you think of that, Jr.?"
Well, I just wrote Terry a response. Actually, something similar kind of occurred to me that, for example, if Stark Tech or Stark
Industries.
the blame for Stark gets the blame for a lot of things, the stock will plummet, and then Osborn would swoop in, buy it up, and promise to use technology more responsibly than Tony Stark.
You can see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, and all the way again. See, I the thing is though, I mean, as I don't want to get too far off the track or whatever. I mean, as much as I wouldn't mind seeing Norman come in, I think the whole environment, political environment, and everything is perfect for someone like Osborn to come in and promise to be, to save people or correct the wrongs of the past. And of course, Norman does what Norman wants to do for Norman's purposes. So, but the thing is, looking at the movies that are coming out, I really don't see Norman fitting in. I mean,
I don't either.
No.
Eternals, Black Panther, Doctor Strange.
There is a rumored Dark Avengers / Thunderbolts movie, but
Yeah.
that's a rumor.
Yeah, but
So,
trying
JR
to fit it in though. So
Jr., do you think the old Stark building from Avengers 1 is going to be the Fantastic Four's building, or you think it's going to be Norman's building?
yeah, I kept hope. See, I keep hoping it'll be Oscorp.
Yeah.
But I have mixed feelings about bringing Norman into the MCU because again, it's like, I guess when you feel almost proprietary toward a character, you worry about him doing him right,
That's
and
the way I am with Mary Jane.
yeah, and he wasn't done right the last time, with the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I don't think that a lot of people really truly get Norman. I think they think he's just a cackling villain, and they don't realize the layers he's got. I mean, he's not a good guy or a misunderstood guy. He's evil through and through, but he does have layers. And I think that sometimes some writers just want to portray him as a one-note villain.
Onions.
But
He's got layers.
He's an ogre.
Onions have layers.
Holy crap!
Giornos
somewhere.
says a
God.
pro that we didn't talk about was the multiple Spider-Man suits that were available that we saw. We saw the original red one that looked like the original Iron Spider suit. Devil Breaker says Mysterio almost kills Spider-Man by playing with his senses enough to lure him onto the path of an ongoing train.
Yep.
That was a pro. That was another pro out of me was him closing his eyes and using his spider sense or his Peter tingle to.
You beat me by a second.
I know.
Man.
The ending was good. I liked him using his spider sense to beat Mysterio. I thought that was right on. That was solid. Another pro out of me, which will be a nice segue to my con off of it, was.
Well, then wait. Don't say a con then. Don't say the con yet. Because you said that about the Baxter building, the Avengers Tower. I saw somewhere there's supposedly a sign that says "Coming soon." 1. ... 2. ... 3. ...
Oh.
But I looked for it. I couldn't find it. The second time I watched the movie, I looked for it. I didn't see that. I saw the Crusher Hogan poster, but I didn't see the.
Might have been
actual
someone
building.
photoshopping it in.
That's fine.
I thought there was a sign in the background that said something about a new phase coming soon. At the end when he started web slinging. It
No, I
was
think it was
taking
probably
a
just.
selfie.
I think that was more just pointing at Phase 4 and saying, "Look, guys, self-aware."
Yeah.
So
I don't think they're ready for. I mean, I wondered. I mean, if the Baxter building would be. I don't think the MCU's. I don't think they're ready for the Fantastic Four yet. I think the Fantastic Four still kind of has loser stink on it, just like the X-Men does now.
yeah.
I mean, I really don't think we'll see the Fantastic Four until like 2023 or 4. I think we're about 5 years away from them.
Feige, I think, said that they're gonna. Then, even though they already have the rights to the F4 and the X-Men, that they're gonna put them on the back burner and give them time to cool off. I think they learned from their mistake by just giving Spider-Man, like putting him in a huge role, like right out of the gate from buying him. So I think this is actually a smart move on their part.
I want to see a Wolverine Hulk fight. I think that'd be great. Not the loser Hulk from Endgame though.
Mark points out we need to put that Shakespeare quote from King Henry.
I don't remember the Shakespeare quote.
Easy lies the head that wears the crown.
Where's the crown? Yep. From King Henry IV, Part 2.
My other pro was Spider-Man. We have probably our first Uncle Ben reference with him putting his luggage in Uncle Ben's luggage, or his clothes in Uncle Ben's suitcase, which now leads to my cons. We're going to cons now. One of my biggest cons of this movie: Spider-Man gets off the plane. Aunt May picks him up. Aunt May's got the AF-1562 license plate. Thought that was nice. That's on the pro side. Where's your luggage? Oh, you just forgot Uncle Ben's bag, didn't you? Yeah, I guess I did, Aunt May. Let's get in the car.
No,
it got destroyed. It got destroyed.
He sure didn't seem upset about that, did he?
No.
Nope.
He didn't care about Uncle Ben's bag at all. Had no material attachment at all to Uncle Ben on that.
Well, maybe that was supposed to be
another insult to us longtime Uncle Ben fans.
Or it was an insult to the Mark Webb Spider-Man film, Amazing Spider-Man films, because that's what both of those films revolved around. A suitcase thing. But no, wait. No, that was Richard Parker's suitcase. Never mind.
Was anybody else offended by that scene like I was?
I didn't even think about it.
I wasn't offended, but it kind of just struck me as odd that Peter would. And Peter's always been kind of a sentimental guy, so it kind of struck me. It kind of confused me that, like, oh wait, so he's not upset about losing one of the last mementos about his dead uncle.
Didn't care at all that he
because Tony Stark is Uncle Ben in this franchise.
There's another con. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Mr. Stark is supposed to get a new card here.
Okay, let's go around.
That's who he is now. I mean, it's Tony Stark is his Uncle Ben. Is Uncle Ben in this movie?
Ashley had the lowest grade out of all you, I think. So, Ashley, I want to hear some cons on Ashley.
All right. Well, what you just brought up about the sentimentality being sacrificed for the sake of a joke is actually kind of the crux of my problem with this movie. Something y'all have to understand about when I watch movies. I will generally enjoy it most of the time, even if it's really bad, especially if it's bad. I'll be enjoying myself. Like the first hour of this movie, I was sitting there like ready for it to be done, just like disliking every second. That never happens for me. That is extremely rare. And I think what's the crux of it is that I'm really sick of this cast of supporting characters that we're supposed to have. In this, Neil brought up the balance between a superhero drama and a teen comedy, and I do agree that the pacing for that worked well, but I think there's a lot of tonal dissonance in how those two different sides of the coin are played. So, like, Peter will be going through all this angst about, oh my god, what am I supposed to do? I'm getting taken advantage of by these people, and I don't really know what is the best step to take. And then everyone around him is doing the equivalent of fart jokes with whatever their one-note shtick is. We have Ned doing something goofy or getting stuck in something. We have Zendaya making some kind of misanthropic quip. We have Betty making goo-goo eyes at Ned. Or the teacher, we have a legitimately disturbing, sad story being used as a joke. And while those kind of things weren't great in a comedy, when we have Spider-Man, who is well known for his,
roots.
Cast of really three-dimensional and well-developed characters who often contribute a lot to the story because they're the neighborhood, and that makes Spider-Man the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. We're just not getting that in this. Everyone, it just feels like it's just a constant, everyone's a running gag. There's no, I don't have a sense of any further dimension to these characters. Like, what does Flash really care about? What does Ned care about? Like, describe Ned. Who is
Legos?
I know, he's like a meme. The characters are memes. They're not people.
He's not
And I
a
feel
meme.
like there's a
He's
way we can-
Genki.
Yeah, he is Genki, literally. That's
He's
what he is.
janky, but they want to hook Ned up with Betty, which is the comics. But what? Yeah.
If I may, going off of Ashley's point that the supporting cast are kind of just there. There's and this is kind of expanding on that. I feel like they're severely wasted. They're kind of they're just there. They provide nothing more, like as Ashley said, a joke, but they just feel like they're kind of attached for no reason other than pure obligation. We could have gone this whole movie without them being there, and nothing would have changed.
No, they played a very important role in this. This whole movie, they were teasing Spider-Man's identity being revealed, and so he was trying to dance all around them without letting it be known. I mean, that's what I thought their whole role was. And then when you compare that with
they just don't have any other personality outside of their shticks.
It's like quips. It's the exact same.
And I
problem.
swear
Think-
to
go ahead,
God,
Ashley.
if I see any more of Aunt May's character just being how hot she is to other men and how funny that is,
That's awful.
F's sake. Like,
Yeah.
Aunt May was one of my favorite characters in the Sam Raimi movie. She had just so much personality. She had so much to give. And yeah, she could be funny. She could crack jokes. We can have her be funny. We can have her be young. But for God's sake, like, do something
make
else
her a
with her
sex object.
character.
Yeah.
Don't relegate
Yes.
her into a tired role.
Vinkman
She's literally a piece of meat.
Vinkman in YouTube chat has a funny comment that I'm been trying to think if he had any. It says everyone makes quips in the movie except Spider-Man. Did Spider-Man have quips in this
Yes.
movie? Did Spider-Man have quips?
No, that's when you think about it. Yeah, I don't think he did.
No,
That's a
they
good
aren't coming to
point.
my mind.
So
I don't remember any.
If I may, going into the film, you know how I mentioned there was that
That's
one
a
guy in the
very good point.
in the chat that I said I went to school with.
Yeah.
So before the movie came out, we were both making like jokes, and I would just do these like 1,000-yard stares when he made like these awful pun jokes about that he thought would be in the movie, and I'm like, it saddens me that those could actually be in the film, and now I'm kind of sad they're not there.
He has a good quip in the trailer where I'm doing your job to the cops. That's going to be on the Blu-ray of what I saw.
But it shouldn't. It shouldn't
But
be
there's
that
no
way, though.
Spider-Man quips. I don't remember one.
Well, and
No.
he's also in a different frame of mind after his whole time and space and Iron Man dying, and he needs to see vacation. He needs to get out of there. He's not in the quipping mood.
Well, I think it's different if he's fighting thugs like he was fighting the Avengers in the first movie. But when you're fighting an elemental who has no personality, who has no dialogue, there's nothing to emotionally impact. So
Why do we-
having him quip wouldn't really serve any purpose, at least for the way Spidey would use it. Now, if
That's
he was
another
quipping
good
with
point, Javi.
Mysterio, that would be, he should have been quipping with Mysterio and trying to pull him down. But the
Yeah.
other fights,
Yeah.
there'd be no reason for him to quip.
I don't know if that's a con or
Yeah.
not, having 4 villains that have no personality.
Well, I mean, they're kind of meant to be throwaway in order to set up Mysterio as
Yeah.
the true big bad. I can excuse it because
Well, they weren't even real to begin. They weren't even real.
you know what I
begin
mean.
with,
I
They're
can-
more
I-
obstacles than villains.
I can excuse it because they were deliberately meant to be fake obstacles, and they're not meant to have any personality. So in that sense, I can kind of give it a pass because Gyllenhaal more than makes up for it because he has so much charisma.
I'm
Yeah.
okay with throwaway villains. I don't need Batman Returns where we spend more time developing Catwoman and the Penguin than we do the main character that I'm paying my money to go see. I'm totally fine with the Rhino being the very beginning and the very end of Amazing Spider-Man 2 and focusing more on Peter and his relationships. That's what they're there for. They look cool, they get in a fight, it's done.
I'll disagree on the Rhino bit, but I understand where you're coming from on this particular argument.
To conclude my main con,
They gave
to
him
conclude my
guns.
main gripe with this movie
Yeah, go ahead, Ashley.
is because the cast of characters is so lacking in how their personalities are developed and how much of them we see on the screen. There's no emotional core to this movie. We don't see, there are no touching moments where we see Aunt May concerned for Peter's safety, like, oh my god, you almost died, are you okay? We don't see much concern between Ned and Peter. There doesn't really seem to be much friendship beyond, hey, I got your back and I'll keep your secrets and we'll make jokes to each other. It just all seems so surface level. We don't ever really bring the stories to still enough point to reach that depth.
Just to go off of your point, Ashley. I had no idea who the guy who was supposed to be who was kind of like aged up 5 years, who was with their class now. I had no idea.
He's literally
I had
brand
no
new.
idea. I had no idea his name was Brad until Brad mentioned it. Because I mean, that's how much he's to me. It was just kind of like, to me, it's just like, oh, it's just the kind of the stock obstacle character is supposed to be like, oh, the kind of the rival for.
Ashley had a good point that I want to play off a little bit. At the end of Homecoming, with the the F with Aunt May finding out Peter is Spider-Man, we never had that interaction of Aunt May and Spider-Man talking about, hey, Uncle Ben died. This is why I took up the suit. What, you're a 15-year-old kid sneaking out of the house? Why? They never showed us that. They just made the characters go on, which felt very unnatural to me.
That would remind us that Aunt May is a human and not a sex object.
Exactly.
It's the same thing with MJ's relationship in this film too. It's like they skipped an entire movie and just so we can just get to this one point. It's like because we find out that aside from the whole like blip thing, so you got a 5-year jump, and then so from the Endgame thing, obviously, then you got another 8 months after they all come back. We never explore any of that. They just barely touch on it. It's all kind of like throwaway gags and everything else, and it's like, but. Yeah,
so
they're basically jokes.
Peter's two main relationships outside of Stark are not developed very well at all. We don't know why MJ and Peter are interested in each other. It's never been shown on screen. Mark says they're teenagers, so it happens. But I want just a little bit. What brings them together?
Well,
what brings them together?
Devil Breakers.
They're also teenagers that I paid $30 to see. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of
Go
the
ahead,
problems
Javi. What were you saying? What Devil Breaker
was bringing up the fact that we didn't get to see that next moment with May and Peter after she finds out he's Spider-Man, and that's a really valid con for this movie. But the problem is where this movie falls in the timeline. It's like, where would we put that scene though? Like, I would have loved to have seen it, but unless we picked up immediately at the end of Homecoming and then did a jump after Endgame, like that'd be a really weird.
It would be fairly
in the movie.
It would be fairly easy to just start the movie off with like a scene that takes place. It would be like the equivalent of the Conversation storyline, and like they'd have a talk about like how Peter why he does what he does, and then like skip and do like a montage of what's happened since during the blip.
But it's a 2-hour summer popcorn movie, then they just want to get going to the Europe part.
What they could have done is that after Endgame, we have the perfect point, the funeral of Tony Stark, which was clearly an important figure in Peter's life, whether we like it or not. That opens the door for a little, parenting time between Aunt May and Peter. Like, hey, let's check in with you. Are you sure you feel ready for this trip? Do you want to just like what's going on. Check
Probably
in.
the Aunt May Peter conversation would have to involve Uncle Ben, and they are not touching that. They aren't
Nope,
touching
they are
Uncle
not.
Ben at all.
That's
I
because they're
wouldn't-
trying to stay away from the last two series
I
as much as
wouldn't-
they can.
I guess
I wouldn't mind this so much if they at least just mentioned him, like May going, "Oh, your uncle would be so proud of you," but they don't even mention him. Period. Like he never even existed.
because
Someone
again,
in
it's all
YouTube
about
chat-
Tony Stark.
Someone in
Uh-huh.
YouTube chat, and I also saw it online. They were asking John, what's the director's name? Watts.
John Watts, yeah.
They said, "Is Uncle Ben in this universe?" And he said yes. And he talked about how he's open to anything. He could even be alive or something like that.
Oh, yeah,
Can you
that's-
imagine
that's-
if Uncle Ben is alive in this universe? Just
And
have,
then Aunt May just says, "Oh,
He's
we
not
weren't really that serious.
exactly.
Then why does he become Spider-Man?
You thought we were married?"
Imagine if it's
Uh,
like it turns out he was just May's lover that Peter grew somewhat attached to.
Then I would go in the
Oh.
theater and go, "What the?" We heard Ashley's cons. Javi, you had a high grade. Do you have any cons on the film?
Yeah, I wasn't. I'll echo what Ryan Reed is saying in the chat about the teachers.
Oh,
They were idiots.
Yeah, he was quite upset with that actually.
I mean, like everybody else, the Tony influence is the hardest thing for me to distance myself from,
Yep.
and it's not. It totally makes sense for this universe, but as someone who hasn't liked the last decade of comics until Spencer took over,
Same.
it started off as feeling like a slap in the face to not get the real, in my mind, Spider-Man. So to have that continuation of that, I just hope, by the time we get to the third one that we finally get some distance and have him be his own man. And it felt like a lot of this movie was trying to establish him away from Tony, even though he was using all his stuff to make his new costume.
3D printer.
I think him making the suit was that a Quinjet or just a regular Stark jet?
It's
That was a Stark Jet thing, yeah.
it's a weird chimera of one.
Having him make his new suit based on Stark tech and Tony's designs for it was like a pro and a con at the same time, because I didn't like the reliance on that.
Yep.
But at the same time, I got a feeling like this Peter was really becoming his own man in that scene, thinking of what he wanted to put in it on himself. Like I actually felt for the first time for this character like he was being more smart and intelligent about how he was doing things and not just relying on trying to impress Iron Man.
There is one specific scene that kind of irked me. It's like that. There's that scene in the bathroom when Peter's getting that new suit from the blonde agent, and she's like strip, and then Brad
Oh,
just walks
So
in.
inappropriate.
Oh, yeah.
God.
Like, what
Yeah,
was
I forgot
that?
about that.
Yeah,
That
that was the
Yes,
that was-
teenage boy, strip in front of me. You don't have any consent or agency over your body.
You guys are bringing up one of my big long con about from this movie that I was going to get into.
well, hit it, Mike. Go ahead.
First
Okay.
article, now this.
So starting with that whole pants thing with the blonde there, and
Brad taking the
guy
picture,
who's
yeah.
who I barely can remember, whose whole thing about, oh yeah, I'm going to send this thing to MJ to basically blackmail you to tell the truth, and like, yeah, so real swell guy you are. There's that whole thing where he gets the glasses and he finds out it gets it from Edith and stuff. And then it leads into this whole thing about where he finds out about the drones, and he's accidentally has the drones come down to almost kill Brad on the bus. And you're thinking to myself, and somebody brought up a good point about that whole sequence. I mean, so they get on the bus. Okay. This is from S.H.I.E.L.D., right?
Yeah.
Why didn't they get him on a private plane? This is S.H.I.E.L.D. we're talking about. They said they put him on a bus.
I think they
Then you find out about the glasses.
I think
Then you find out about the whole glasses.
I
know. I'm getting to that thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm getting there. So they find out. Then he gets the thing glasses. He basically gets access to killer drones, which I'm sure Tony would have kind of realized that Spider-Man is not somebody who kills people, but whatever. And so you get this whole thing with the bus sequence and the killer drone thing. This whole thing has been basically set up just to establish that these glasses are dangerous, so that when Mysterio gets them, he can then use them. Otherwise, there's no reason for them to take this bus trip thing because we need to have that little sequence there, and you get that whole thing with the, everything about that whole thing from the pantsing thing
Mhm.
to him basically almost killing Brad and him like, oh, I can't find my photos in the phone kind of thing. But it just seemed like, oh, that's a good 10 minutes. They could have just, that seemed kind of like just there, just,
Can we also
put a
talk
plot
about
point in.
how the way that Edith phrased it was like, "Oh, do you want to take out the target?" It's like it was
Yeah.
never.
Do you want to execute the
Oh,
target?
this is gonna kill him.
Do
He's
you
like,
want to
"Yeah, let's
execute the
target."
target? Yeah. You want to execute
yeah,
the target? Yeah.
And then we have Nick Fury yelling at him about it later, and I'm like, "No, you do not get to yell at him for a misunderstanding because Tony's all wishy-washy with his words. This isn't Peter's fault."
Mm-hmm. Oh, and the other thing about that, kind of like branching off a little bit too, about I do have to disagree with Javi about the idea that this film was attempting to make Peter his own man. It does, and it doesn't.
No,
Yeah.
On the one hand, it
does.
does. On the one hand, they keep trying to say like, oh, I'm not going to be the next Iron Man. Yet it goes out of its way to try to make him into the next Iron Man because they give him all this stuff. They just like, yeah, here's Tony's glasses, here's Tony's jet, here's all of his holographic thing, and here's Happy, who's basically now your basically your shuttle service.
Happy gives him the look.
Yeah. He's
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, he's reminiscing. Oh, he's just like Tony.
Yes.
He's just like that. He's just like Iron Man. He's just like the young Tony Stark in Iron Man Adventures, that one cartoon where
Armored
everyone
Adventures?
forgets about. Yeah.
I like,
But then,
Also-
and then you also got on top of this, the idea that with Peter, it's like he's just like they're trying to be like he's supposed to be like, we're being told that he's supposed to be like this lower middle class kid. Like Flash even makes fun of him over this thing. How is he poor now? He's got, I mean, he's got all these resources at his disposal now, thanks to Tony Stark. So you
He went on
basically
a
get,
class trip to Europe.
yeah. So-
Con out of me, Happy. I don't want Happy in this next film.
Well, he's gonna be,
John-
whether like it or not.
Don't like him and Aunt May at all.
But it was just a thing.
It's just awful. And what's another thing? Happy didn't really like the kid in the first film. Didn't really like the kid in Civil War. He's trying to get into May's pants.
Yeah.
So he's using Peter. I don't.
No, he's not using Peter. He feels better about Peter now that Tony is dead. He kind of feels an obligation.
Yeah, I know
I'm
that.
I'm done with Happy. Do you like Happy in the film, Mark?
I like him.
You like him going after Aunt May?
I don't really care one way or the other about him going after Aunt May, but I really liked him having that conversation with Peter in the plane, and when Peter's kind of lost, and it kind of helps him get refocused. I thought it was a good scene.
Oh, you used the inspiration of Iron Man to inspire Spider-Man to do something. I disagree.
In this universe,
No.
I mean, you can't escape it in this universe.
However, it was funny where Peter Parker goes, "I love Led Zeppelin," and it was AC/DC playing. That was
Yeah,
that was
cute.
funny. That was funny.
I actually thought it was Led Zeppelin.
Oh, you did?
Oh,
Yeah.
shame.
It was
shame,
AC/DC.
shame.
To be fair, actually, I probably made the same mistake because I'm young enough to make that.
It
not
it
make
was
that
Back
distinction.
in Black from the Iron Man films.
Mhm.
Let's see. Cons JR. What do you got?
Well, I tell you, the first con was the very beginning because
Whitney Houston, you're not a
Yeah.
fan?
I didn't say that. But see, here's the thing. I missed the Spider-Man theme. I mean, it was in all the promos, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like when you go into a Star Trek movie, you expect to hear bum, ba, bum, ba, 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 ba. So when in a Spider-Man movie, I'm sitting there waiting for da 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 da, and then it's like, Whitney Houston's like, what the blank, and
It
then
went
it goes
for a
in-
laugh. I thought it was a good laugh.
and then it goes into the montage, and I do remember telling Spencer, God, that was stupid and lame. And Spencer goes, well, it's a high school announcement. High school announcements are stupid and lame,
Yeah.
Dad. It's,
They are.
I said, "Dad, you kind of got a point there."
Also, they're doing this 8 months later.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, I mean, they had to take their midterms again, right?
Yeah, they had
yes,
to repeat the whole
and-
year. They had to
Yeah.
repeat the whole year, actually.
So I agree with everybody with the reliance on Star. To me, it's kind of sets up something. I don't know if it's sustainable. I mean, for one, now Peter doesn't do anything himself. You know, I mean, well, I mean, he's got his web shooters, but I mean, he doesn't create his costume himself. He doesn't rely on his own resources. I mean, what's
Play
gonna
devil's advocate. He did make his own costume in this.
no, but
Stark
it's using Stark stuff. So
Yeah.
I mean, how does Stark Industries survive though in the next movie? I mean, I'm thinking surely Mysterio and his crew are going to destroy it.
Hopefully Norman takes over and,
Well,
he,
yeah,
and he
hopefully,
takes all the tech back.
but-
But Spider-Man
but-
can't have any Stark tech.
So then
Remember-
that's
hang on,
the thing. So
guys.
what does Spider-Man do now? You know, so they've got this reliance on something which I don't think is sustainable.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, comic books are comic books. I mean, and you know, this is a comic book movie, and you like sci-fi. You know, you know, you have to have a suspension of disbelief. But the whole thing, and I know they were stuck with the blip. I know they were stuck with it and had to address it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, something like that, where half the population disappears, and then 5 years, I mean, so basically the world has started to, basically everything would be thrown into chaos. Governments be thrown into chaos. The economy be thrown into chaos. You know, I mean, there all kinds of stuff would be, you know.
Let's go
Half
on
of the
vacation.
population is half of the population is technically homeless.
If
because
Well,
see,
see,
that's
then,
how
and then see half of them, they all come back 5 years later. So then you have like all these billions of people then that have to be reintroduced into the society, reintroduced into the economy. So literally the world would be in chaos.
Mike, how
and-
are they homeless? I don't
Because
get it.
remember Aunt May when she was doing that fundraiser, she basically talked about how when I returned back after the blip, people that were in my apartment were shocked that they thought I was a ghost and everything like this. So what happened is, while she was disappeared for 5 years, somebody else moved into her apartment. So there was implying that now she's now runs like a little business thing, is trying to help displaced blips regain their houses because which means half of the world is literally homeless.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
also,
yeah,
JR, if you and I didn't pay our mortgage for 5 years, we'd be homeless too, wouldn't we?
Yeah, we would.
If-
but
and
it's just the event. Such an event would be so catastrophic on the world. It's almost. I mean, I know that going into comic books and sci-fi movies, you got to suspend disbelief, but this is almost too much, really. I mean, I would rather they have done instead of I would rather they had traveled back in time and stopped Thanos instead of this. And I know that creates a problem with quantum mechanics and everything like that. But yeah. So anyway, so there was that. Frank, here's the thing. I hope we start getting movies soon. More Spires. I guess I'm the only one who believes this, but Tom Holland is starting to age out of being a teenager. He's not a teenager. You know, and
he should be in his senior year, probably the next film.
Yeah,
I
he's
guess.
not
Yeah.
16. You know, and it's not as bad as my gripes with the Amazing Spider-Man, where Andrew
Garfield.
Garfield
Yeah.
and Emma Stone were clearly not teenagers.
I disagree. We had the exact same opposite problem. Tom Holland will probably look the same until he turns 40. Then his balls will drop and he'll look like an adult.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's hard to say that. It's just the way it's, you know, teenagers are they're just gawky. They're just goofy. They're, you know, it just, and he's growing into a man. I mean, it's fairly obvious. He's not 16. And so like, if they do another movie in 2 years and he's still 16 years old, you know, I've got a problem with that. But anyway, those are, I mean, I there are a lot of problems. I mean, there are a lot of
Michelle Jones, talk about that, JR.
Well, you know, it's interesting because I was watching Midnight's Edge.
What's that?
Well,
YouTube channel.
Yeah,
Does
I mean,
reviews.
there's a whole bunch of there's a whole bunch of like media sites. You know, there's like Midnight. Well, I'm the ones that I've seen: Midnight's Edge, Doomcock. Who the hell? What the hell is he? Nerdrotic.com.
What sites are you going to?
These
What
are
you talking-
YouTube channels.
Oh my gosh!
Now wait a minute. Now wait a minute. Now who is more hip now?
You are.
The guy in his
You
mid
are.
50s with the gray hair.
You are.
know,
You're going to some
I'm
weird
I
YouTube
am
channels,
hip.
man.
But anyway, anyway, Midnight's Edge has done a really good job exploring the problems with Star Trek, and part of the problems with Star Trek is the fact that CBS and Paramount, I mean Viacom, split,
Yeah.
and
The films went one way and the TV show went the other.
right, and when the Midnight's Edge guy did a review of Spider-Man: Far From Home, he mentioned MJ, and he said that part of that, the reason that's the way it is because of licensing or rights issues.
Yeah.
And he
What?
said,
Mhm.
and they were going to do Midnight's Edge is going to do something on that in the future.
What
So-
rights issue? Marvel owns Mary Jane.
No,
But-
they don't. It's a contract. It's a contract because they joined Marvel because Marvel and Sony share Spider-Man. There are certain characters they can and cannot use.
There's
So there's going to be a Mary Jane standalone movie by Sony?
You mean they didn't license Mary Jane out when they brought Spider? They got Flash. They got Aunt May. Why not Mary Jane?
Well, at least the interpretations that people are used to, they have to make new versions
Yeah.
of them, even if they are blank one-dimensional
Who
shells.
says this?
Midnight's
Disney
Edge.
or Sony?
Yeah,
well, first of all,
it's part of their deal.
It's
part of the
almost-
deal Sony and Disney have. Sony and
Who-
Disney-
it's
hang
it's
on.
almost like we're going to have to. I think I don't know. Before we get to I think we're almost going to have to wait and see what someone comes up with if this is true. But like I said, that explains they did a really good job explaining why some of the things in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek is a little bit wonky or whatever, because it almost has. I don't want to get too far down this road, but there has to be like about a 25% difference between Abrams' Star Trek and the Star Trek that CBS owns, and it's
Well, that would make sense of why all the supporting cast are so
Okay,
vastly different.
so I did a look. I this is Wikipedia, so for all we know, it could be wrong. But Sony Pictures will continue to own, finance, distribute, and exercise final creative control over the Spider-Man film. So they don't really have to give up anything. They can keep things exactly. They can keep things exactly the way they should
Why-
technically be.
Why wouldn't they? I would
Because they wanna be
the movie's made $500 million already.
Because they want it to be different. That's it.
No.
yeah. I mean, and to be honest, though, I have to say I like Zendaya. I mean, you're all talking. Zendaya, is that it?
Zendaya, yeah,
Yeah, it's like,
Zendaya.
it's like being with my wife. Whenever I pronounce words like Detroit, it's Detroit, not Detroit. You hick.
You say something else Spider-Man related that every time you say it bothers me.
Felicia?
Say McFarlane, Todd McFarlane. How do you say it?
Todd McFarlane.
I thought you said it McFarlane or something.
I probably
like that.
have. I probably
I
have.
say McFarlane.
You guys are asking, for example. I mean, again, forgetting that this whole Mary Jane MJ thing. You're asking, how does Peter Parker? Why does Peter Parker fall in love with her? And it's like, well, why not? She's a pretty girl. It's kind of like she's a pretty girl.
Why did he like Liz? Hormones.
Yeah.
And I actually kind of like their the acting between. I mean, Holland and Z have they have chemistry. They have genuine.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
They really they dress down Zendaya. She can really be absolutely stunning.
Right.
She even dyed her hair red for the press junket.
But
Actually, she was better dressed in this film than she was in the last film, I thought. But
That's true.
But I mean, it's kind of like going back to why haven't we seen any goblins? Why haven't we seen Doc Ock? They're the greatest villains. Well, why haven't we seen Mary Jane? Why haven't we seen Gwen? Because we've already seen them, and maybe that's
Here's
that's part of it. I mean,
here's my theory of why Zendaya is dressed down.
This is the guy who's never heard of Doomcock, Nerdrotic, and Midnight's Edge, and he's theorizing. So go ahead.
Sounds like your VHS collection in the 80s, JR. Is what that sounds like.
Wait a minute, what? I still have it.
I know you do.
I still have all the VHS.
So here is my Mary Jane or MJ theory. If you notice, the Tigers are the mascot of the school. How about the senior dance? She dyes her hair red. He takes her to the senior dance, opens the door, face it, Tiger, which is their mascot. You just hit the jackpot.
Well, but then they're just stealing a scene from Spectacular Spider-Man.
Well, it's a classic scene, though.
It's a classic
I'm
scene.
talking about in the
It's a
context of it
classic
being.
scene.
I'm talking about the
That
context of it being a school dance.
has not been shot on film live action. That is the equivalent of an upside down kiss. That scene, if they do it.
Boy, if you had that scene though, this podcast would just be absolutely bazonkers. That's not Mary Jane. You gave her that scene. Can you? Oh my gosh, Peter Norbit, he would never shut up on Facebook. I'd have to defriend him.
I don't know. I want to see that scene, and I want to see Zendaya be a little happier, be a little bit more party girl.
She was
Mary
in this
Jane.
film. That's the thing.
She
was-
doesn't have to be party girl. I think she's fine. I like her misanthropic attitude. It helps set her apart from other people, and she doesn't have to like everything all the time.
She
had
did.
better
She
personality in
did
this film
open
than
up.
she did in the last film.
She opened up. She opened up as a character a little bit more in this film than the last.
Yeah, I
one.
definitely want to see her open up, but I don't think she
Yeah.
has to change her personality at all.
Yeah, we definitely got a hint that she's got a backstory that makes her put up those walls, you know?
Yeah.
Mm.
Other cons we have not mentioned. Let's hear.
Flash Thompson.
Okay, let's hear.
I
Let's
just,
go ahead.
I don't know why I don't like that guy as Flash. I don't like the portrayal of Flash. I thought him showing up, the butler showing up at the airport to pick him up, and he's like, "Where are my parents?" Like that. 5 seconds, like it
Dad just
had no
died in the
payoff.
Venom movie. That's what happened.
It was just,
Mhm.
it was weird, and it felt out of place. It's like, why are we spending 5 seconds to feel sorry for Flash?
You know what this film. I mean, I read a really good kind of like paraphrasing of this thing on one of those reviews on like RogerEbert.com or whatever it is, where they were just
He's
doing the
dead.
review of this movie. No, but I know he's dead. They've got other guys doing this. They've got other reviewers on that thing. But besides the point, the way they paraphrase this movie, Far From Home is to Homecoming what National Lampoon's European Vacation
Ye-
was to the original National Lampoon's
Yes.
Vacation.
No way.
Yes, I agree. Hey kids,
Yeah,
Big
because
Ben. Hey kids, Mysterio. Hey kids, Big Ben. Hey, remember that scene in
Because
European?
which was funny because when I was watching this film, I kept thinking this is like National Lampoon's European
Yeah.
Vacation. It's just
Yeah.
an excuse for them to go all over the world so they can do
Yep.
like different location shots. I mean, they don't follow the same pattern thing, but it's pretty much
Only difference.
almost the same plot.
There's
It's
no
like-
there's no nudity in this one.
No, there isn't. No,
However, there's
no-
another
there-
porn reference. What did Spider-Man say he's doing with porn?
Oh, that's where he was doing. That's Happy Hogan
right.
basically told him that when we brought you out for the Civil War, you finally did your pay-per-view thing, and it was for adult film.
Oh, he watched a dirty movie. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he was watching a dirty
That's
movie
the
while he was.
second porn reference in a Spider-Man film. What do you think of that?
Teenagers.
I don't
Well,
like that.
technically, they also have the awkward position with the whether
Blondie.
the other spy thing. Yeah, Blondie thing. But it's just so it just to me like in terms of like it's almost like so they had the thing where they had all the stuff with they had the vacation aspect of the thing where they're going. It's just excuse for them going, hey, let's go to this city, blah blah blah, and they throw in this kind of a Spider-Man tangential thing. So it was just kind of like, I mean,
I
Yeah.
asked the YouTubers some cons that we have not mentioned. One was Peter Tingle.
Yeah.
oh yes,
It's
Well,
got to be.
that's because they didn't put
Peter
Peter on
hates that.
Can we just let it
Peter
speak for
hates that
itself?
name.
We have to talk about it.
I liked Aunt May throwing a banana at him. I thought that was. You don't have your spider sense or your Peter Tingle. I thought that was kind of funny.
But then they wore the joke down.
They did. They did.
Mhm.
I thought it
Ryan
was funny
said-
because it came from Aunt May, and I
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
liked them. I wanted them to show the spider sense, but once they did this movie, you couldn't show the spider sense and have the same effect with Mysterio's illusions. I
Well,
think it
that's
would
why
a
they
lot
had the
better
cla-
us not seeing it.
Well, that's why they did at the end when he closes
Yeah.
his eyes, and
Right.
then
I love that scene
whole
where
sequence.
close
That
the
sequence
eyes.
is great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But him
Yeah.
running
Um,
across those poles and then him jumping up from one drone to the next drone, that shows us
Mhm.
he's got that spider sense working.
yeah.
Something
mhm.
I was
I-
unclear about. Was his spider sense supposed to be like actually not working at the beginning?
No,
And
he was
why?
under too much stress because he was under. I guess that was the
okay.
implication
I-
there that he was.
I just figured it
you know.
wasn't a deathly threat. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I disagree, Mark, because they make the point in Civil War that Peter made the goggles specifically because there's too much input in general in his life, and so he made the goggles to kind of vent out or kind of filter out the input. But then like they never kind of bring that up again, not even in Civil War or any other movies.
Chi-Town says Iron Man reveals himself at the end of his first movie. End of this movie is a mirror reflection. That's a con. Ryan says teachers scroll Nick Fury not stopping the dock footage. No quippage. 5 minutes of New York swinging. That's a con. Too much Iron Man is dead references. No Uncle Ben is a con. Giorno says Ned and his girlfriend were cheesy and unbelievable. Not enough Aunt May, says Ryan. Let's see. Too much Fury and Maria Hill.
Ned and Betty, you got to keep your eyes open at the high school. That is
technically their
gosh,
relationship
that
in this movie is better than the one in the comics because it's actually
It's healthier.
it is.
So is he Ned or is he Gonky? Well, who the hell is that kid? Is he Ned Leeds or Gonky?
Being with Betty was the only Ned thing he's done in 2 movies.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
I said being with Betty is the only Ned Leeds thing
That's
he's done
true.
in 2 movies.
That's
Because
true.
he's not Peter's best friend in the comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I saw an
Right.
interview with the actor that plays Ned, and he was talking about how he met Stan Lee, and Stan Lee gave him Ned Leeds' first appearance as a gift, the book, the comic.
Oh,
And I
that's
thought that was really sweet. He
I-
should have given him Gonky's first appearance.
I thought this was supposed to be Stan's last cameo. I thought,
No, I always heard Endgame was.
no.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too much Fury and Maria Hill, says Adam. You guys agree with that or not?
I don't think
Well,
that
it's
it
kind of
works.
more Ultimate Spider-Man actually, with Nick Fury is
Yeah.
kind of involved there.
I don't mind because I'm on the opposite side. I don't think they were there enough for them to really matter,
Yeah.
and that's at least that's from my point.
I
of view.
did like MTU 8378, I think, is what the license plate was, which was
Right.
Marvel Team Up 83 with Spider-Man and Nick Fury. I thought that was that was a nice little license plate. What else cons did we not hit up?
Oh, what was there? There was something that
I
there was
still don't.
something struck.
I still don't like the Iron Spider design. I know that's not really a con that carries over. That's really this movie specifically, but it still angers me something fierce.
I like it
I'm
better
gonna be-
than the Casada one.
What
I'll be a
what,
little
Javi?
bit controversial.
I like
Oh, the
I like
Casada's
the
in there.
movie one a lot better than the Casada one.
I'll be
Yeah.
a little controversial. I did
Go
not
ahead.
like the new costume that he gets at the end.
Really?
I liked bits
I
of
kind
it.
of did.
I like
There-
it.
I mean,
It's-
bits of it, yeah, parts of it are fine. I just did not like the fact that it didn't have the connecting red thing. I mean, just the weird kind of black thing. I did like the kind of the fingers things a little bit like this, but it was almost like. But then they had that little white spider thing in the back, and it's like it didn't seem like it was. It seemed almost. I mean, I think it would have been if it had been more Ditko. I mean, it was very close to being Ditko-esque, but it didn't seem to like. But it also tried to incorporate a lot of Superior Spider-Man kind of stuff in it, which
I
didn't
mixed,
quite mesh well. I thought.
Mike. I'm mixed on it because
Mhm.
when Spider-Man jumps out of the Stark Quinjet,
Yeah.
he comes down flying like Superman.
Yeah, he's got a parachute thing.
He's got a
popping
parachute,
out.
which I didn't like. However, the next scene where he whips out the web pits, and you guys know I love web
Yeah.
pits, that was
Yeah.
cool. Just the coming
Yeah,
down
the
looking
web
like
pits-
Superman didn't feel like Spider-Man to me.
If
The
I-
web pits actually have a practical use in this.
They
and I
do,
wouldn't be
they do.
surprised if they try the comics, if the comics try to incorporate a little bit more of that, like as far as the web slinging, and then doing kind of like the web pit thing, kind of glide
Yeah.
thing,
I
incorporating
kinda-
some of that.
Anybody else
Yeah,
not like
that
the
was
black
cool.
and red? I liked it.
I liked
loved
the
it.
black.
Right.
I liked the black and red, but there's a problem. The MCU's had this problem with like putting too much detail into the costumes, which I know sounds weird, but like there's a really weird part of his costume. I think it's in like the crotch/thigh area. Where, like there's this weird like black lines all over it, and I get it probably was meant to tie it together, but it just looks really off when the rest of the black parts are just matte black.
And you know, this and the next film, we're going to have a different suit.
Oh my god!
I mean, we got to sell
Oh, yeah.
toys. We got to
Yeah.
sell new toys.
I'd say my
So-
problem with this movie's suit is that it just didn't really leave much of an impression on me. Like, I know the White Spider for the Spider-Man PS4 game was controversial, but like I see it, I'm like, that's the PS4 Spider-Man.
Right.
And
Mhm.
when I think PS4 Spider-Man, I'm like, it's the one with the white spider. It's instantly recognizable. This one, I'm like,
It's gonna be tossed
wait,
away.
what did it look like again? Like I know it had like red and black, and I remember the gliders. But I think, like Neil was saying, there was more attention paid to the details than to the overall impression it would leave.
Mhm.
It's going to be interchange. It's just one of those interchangeable costumes. Like every time there's an Avengers movie, the Avengers just have a new costume by default. It's kind of to be expected at this point, and I feel like they're kind of unfortunately repeating that trend with Spider-Man when he already has a perfectly functional red and blue.
Well, you got to sell more toys. You got to sell them now.
Any other cons before we go on to a little funny couple things I have in mind that we can go round robin for? Any other cons we missed?
I don't think so.
Well, why don't we talk about a little bit about the implications of the end game exactly? If that's
Yeah,
the fact
I'm
that
gonna go into that.
he's now got okay.
That's one of the fun things we're going to do.
Okay.
What
Okay,
happens
perfect.
next is one of the
Mhm.
fun things we'll do. Also, every movie review we've done since our very first JR, our first Spider-Man movie I think we reviewed on this podcast was Spider-Man 3 back
Yes, it
in
was.
07,
Yes, it was.
because we started the podcast in 06. So something I always like to do with these is funny in theater experiences. Did you have something funny happen to you on the way to the theater, away from the theater, inside the theater? When I saw Spider-Man 3 in the theater, the scene where Peter smacks Mary Jane, guy in the back row goes, "Damn, Spider-Man smacked a bitch." Loud! Yelled it. And I still remember that. Did anybody have any funny experiences who would like to share?
I will tell you what I didn't do.
Okay, go ahead.
I did not dress in my quote unquote pajamas and eat cereal in the theater.
Oh my god! I actually remembered that.
That's a reference to our Spider News podcast. From
I did not want to give Brad some material to do for his
Oh,
news
that would've been
for his news
funny.
podcast. Oh no! I mean, this is not one of those towns at all. It's not. This is not
anybody
LA.
else?
I did go to an Alamo, and the only exciting thing that happened was when they were cleaning up. One of the servers had dropped some of the glasses and they broke on the ground, which the theater was actually, this was the most full I've seen in end credits for like any Marvel movie. I don't know why everyone stayed for this and not other movies.
Probably because it caps off Phase 3.
Anybody hop up and leave before the mid credits and end
No.
credits?
Not
People
this
smart
time.
by now.
Yeah, a
Oh,
lot of
no,
people
there are a
getting
bunch
up
of
and
people
doing that.
leaving.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I-
this was the first time that there was still a lot of people.
JR and Mark, people got up and left. They didn't see J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh yeah, they're
Idiots.
moving all through it.
Oh
No, I mean, it's-
man!
As
And then, I mean, they missed the, again, I don't want to debate the validity of the scene, but missed the scene where it was revealed that Maria Hill and Fury were Skrulls. And it's
Yeah.
like, because I was turning to Spencer and I go, I can't believe this. I mean, a key element of the movie, and they're just walking out.
Yeah, right.
Everybody knows now
Yeah.
that Marvel movies have credits in credit scenes. So
Yep. Well, the only one that didn't was Endgame because they had that kind of that tribute to all the classic Avengers or something at the end. I think maybe that's why some folks left is because they thought, oh, if it's just going to be another one of these tribute things or something like this, I'm out.
Adam in YouTube chat says a dude in my showing left about halfway through the movie itself.
Oh, damn.
Ryan says when he saw Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man breaks free of the rubble. A person said, quote, "Now I will find that wimp Superman."
Right.
Adam Winchell says, when I saw ASM 2, every time Felicia was on screen, this group of dudes would laugh every time her name was said. It was weird. Why is that, Ashley? I don't know.
I guess
Um,
the idea like
I-
that's Felicia Hardy. I don't know.
Either that or like a Bye Felicia joke or something. I don't know.
I saw the film in a brand new movie theater with reclining seats, and I was like, boy, these are really nice. These are really nice. And then I just started getting hot. Like I'm like, man, seat is hot. It's leather. Why is it so hot? Like I'm having grill marks on my ass, like a Burger King Whopper. And I'm telling you. And
That's really
and then
specific.
and then and then at the end of the previews, before the film officially started, it said, welcome to the new B&B Theaters, where we have the first heated seats in St. Louis. So I look,
Fancy.
and there's a little red button, and there's low, medium, and high. And I had hit high on the seat, and I
Oh,
was on
God.
fire.
Wait a minute. Okay, first of all, what's the temperature outside in St. Louis? I mean, why would you have
What
heated
was it
seats in the summer? Yeah,
Well, it's
I mean-
year-long seats. I mean, they
yeah.
probably in the
Still,
winter it's
I
a
know,
nice
but-
effect. But
Yeah.
my ass got hot. Never said
Oh,
that on the
man.
podcast, Jr.
I
Probably
kind of
never will.
I kind of got an experience. It's not really a memorable one. So the theater I went to, it's one of those new Xscape theaters, and they have like this new sound system that has like bouncing redundancies on it, and like they make this weird wah 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 noise. And someone just said, "I didn't pay to see a Transformers movie. I paid to see a Spider-Man movie."
There was I don't know. I mean, nobody else will find this amusing but me. But for example, when after Spencer and I left, and we were, I forget, we were just standing around for a minute, and there was a father with a son, and his son was probably about 7 or 8 years old, and the father had a Spider-Man shirt on. And I turned to Spencer and I said, "Now you guys, you and your sister won't let me wear a Spider-Man shirt to these Spider-Man movies." And of course Spencer said, "That's not true. That's not true." But now both P and Rachel, it's like, "No, Dad. No, Dad." When I say should it, because I have actually, it was a gift. Somebody gave me a fairly nice button-down Spider-Man shirt, which actually I wore to Spider-Man 2 when I took Rachel to the midnight movie that time. So she must
Nice.
have, but it's like ever since then, it's like, "Hey guys, should I wear a Spider-Man shirt?" No, Dad. Don't
That's
embarrass us.
That's funny.
So,
Okay, the other fun part I want to do is what happens next. Where do we go with Spider-Man 3? So Venkman says, with Peter's in YouTube chat, he says, with Peter's identity being revealed to the whole world, are they going to do a one more day where Doctor Strange wipes everybody's brain? Do you think
Oh,
they'll go
gosh,
down that route?
Huh.
I hope they don't. That'd be that's, I mean, on the one hand, I do kind of feel like, in a sense, by doing this, they've kind of, on the one hand, yeah, it's exciting. We get to explore what Spider-Man's like without, if everybody knows who he is. But at the same time, they really kind of wrote themselves in the corner with this, because, I mean, although
They got an idea
technically
for the next film, obviously.
yeah, but I think the thing is, supposedly the third film, according to Tom Holland's contract, is going to be the last. It's supposed to be, this is the third Spider-Man film of these homecoming things, whatever it's going to be. Spider-Man, Home Sweet Home, Spider-Man Homeless,
From
Spider-Man.
what I've
whatever,
read,
but-
they want to do 9 of these things: 3 in high school,
Really?
3 in college, and 3 as an adult. And Holland has said he'll do them as long as he can.
That implies
Okay,
the
because I
MCU
thought he was
will
only
last that
contracted
long.
for 6. I thought
He may
was
be
only
contracted,
for
but this kid wants to make more of them. I don't
Yeah.
see
okay,
him
because I thought
stopping.
his contract was going to be up after whatever because he's done 5 movies as Spider-Man right now, and he's got to
Yeah.
there's a third one coming up. So I thought that was part of his contract
Yeah.
thing. But if he could still go, okay.
Do you
but
like
yeah,
the
it's-
idea of 3 high school, 3 college, 3 adult?
Well, potentially he can still pull it off, because he's still, like, because as everyone talks about, he still can pass himself off as a high school student even now.
He only needs to
Even
do
though
it
he's
one
like
more
the-
time as a
Yeah,
high
only
schooler.
one more time. Yeah, exactly.
So in
But I'm just kinda
2022,
But I'm just kind of wondering exactly how are they going to possibly, undo this thing? Like, is it going to be the whole movie? Like, oh, I'm going to be like the twist could be like, oh, he's not considered a fugitive. He's like, everyone thinks of him as a celebrity, because it's like, oh, that could be the big twist. Like, he's got to deal with.
I don't know. They
all
made
of a
him look
sudden-
like a villain, and J. Jonah Jameson's
Yeah,
after him.
Yeah, but again, it's J. Jonah Jameson. He's doing kind of a thing where they,
Yeah.
basically put out this whole thing where he looks like he's kind of like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, the conspiracy nut kind of thing.
Well, they've
Do you-
already
that's
got
the other
Aaron
thing,
in
too.
there.
Would you
They
guys
have
be
to.
offended if Peter's identity is known to the world from now on in the film series?
See, here's
It's
what I
weird.
actually think they'll do. I think they'll keep it that way. They're not going to try. They want to do anything to fix his identity being public, because in the past movies, him having a secret identity kind of got beat. It just became a dead horse. They keep beating it over and over again. And with as much as they've tried to stay away from material that's been touched in the past movies, it seems like this is their opportunity to get away from it and go towards new territory.
Here's the thing.
So you think they'll keep it, actually? His
I
identity
think there's
out?
a strong possibility that they'll try and keep it at least for a while. It's not going to be fixed in one movie.
I don't like that idea.
I think they'll pull a Prowler type storyline where he has
Yeah.
somebody else dress up as him.
Yeah, that
puts
could
some
work.
doubt.
I think so
Yeah.
too. I really
So
do.
we
Well,
can get
after-
the heat off of Peter Parker, but the world still hates Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But plus the other thing too is you kind of wonder exactly who's going to be who they would slate to be the next villain of the thing. Although some people think it could be, I think they probably are going to stay away with villains like Norman Osborn and Doctor Octopus and
I do
everything like
too.
this. I think they're going to try to maybe I think they could be potentially setting up like maybe Craven.
I would
Or
love
this-
I would love Craven and Scorpion
Mhm.
and Chameleon. Chameleon is just an easy villain that's been done
Yeah.
over and over in films, but that could be an easy way out of Peter Parker's
Yeah.
identity crisis. That I mean, he could be a
Mhm.
minor character, and that would solve the problem.
Well, given how well they did Mysterio,
Right.
and now that we know that J.K. Simmons is back, I never knew I wanted this, but I want a Spider Slayer movie with crazy, over-the-top J.K. Simmons
Yeah.
yelling at him
that-
through the face
Oh my God,
of
that'd
the
be
robot
fun.
And that
spider.
little, and that
raises-
little thing on
Take
the
my
wheels
money.
with the face screen and the little tentacles going around.
That,
Yeah.
does,
Yeah.
that does raise the question of whether or not, because they've always said, "Oh, we want to do modern stuff," but then that raises the question of, do you want to do like classic Spencer Smythe Spider Slayers, or with those weird like Locust Slayers from like Slots Run with Alistair Smythe? Because that's a double-edged sword there.
One
Yeah, I didn't
thing,
read that.
one thing that's been mentioned is even the director of this film has been like, it would be fun to mix Venom with Spider-Man. Tom Hardy. Do you want
No.
that?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know that
Yeah.
that's going to be. It's possible they could do it, but I mean, considering how the Tom Hardy Venom is so disconnected from this Spider-Man, it's like I'm not sure how you could really kind of bring him in.
Maybe in the adult version of Spider-Man that we're talking about, that 9-picture deal,
yeah.
Tom Hardy versus an adult Spider-Man would be more appropriate.
Well, the thing is, the other thing is too, is because with Sony with Into the Spider-Verse, they've kind of introduced that. I've already introduced that idea of a multiverse kind of thing, so they could. I guess you could kind of try to maybe do some kind of weird.
You want to bring Miles in it?
Right. They could try to. I mean, well, they already have a reference toward it because in the last
Yeah.
film they did talk about Aaron.
Aaron's
that
cousin, yeah.
where it was played by
I mean, Aaron's nephew.
no,
Sorry.
played by let's see. Played by a Glove. Played by
Glover. Yeah, Glover.
Yeah. Yep. He was,
JR, where do you want to go next?
Well, I've never been to Hawaii, to be honest.
You
Well,
want Spider-Man set in Hawaii, so he gets laid. Come on, that's a dad joke.
God.
That's a dad joke.
Where did we go from? See, I don't. I would not be surprised if they would pull a One More Day type thing with Doctor Strange. I would not be surprised. The thing is, though, I mean, because everybody would see. Here's the thing, though. I don't see the whole like, oh, hi, it was Chameleon all along or Mysterio all along working, because every one of Mysterio's cohorts is still alive. I mean, as far as right, so they're all still alive. They all know that Peter is Spider-Man.
We got Dimitri.
Yeah,
Huh?
that is a problem, and also the Vulture
and they
knows.
have the Vulture knows. The Vulture has various reasons for keeping it to himself, but I mean, all these other people have absolutely no reasons to keep it to themselves. I mean, and plus, again, Night Monkey, which I like Night Monkey, but I mean, come on, Night Monkey moves like Spider-Man. Everybody, just too many people should, and I know that in comic books, everybody kind of gets stupid when they all get like Lois Lane, and can't recognize Clark Kent or Superman without his glasses. But I think just way too many people know that the only way to do it would be to a Doctor Strange thing. And that would be so, if they did something like that, that would be such a cop out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, again, and surely Feige and all those and Watts and those realize how One More Day, of course, One More Day had so many other problems. But as far as like, I would think that the third movie could have the fallout of Peter's identity being known, and then maybe he's protecting Aunt May or whatever, and we have this scene where he apologizes to May, and then that's where we get the scene of her reaction. Peter White, her reaction to him being Spider-Man, and
That'd
him
be
telling her
great.
why he
Talk about
became-
Uncle Ben.
Yeah, so maybe in that context, where Peter is like said, now your life is threatened, and I'm so sorry, I
So-
never meant this to happen. And then we kind of have that whole they have the conversation we all kind of wanted to see.
Yep.
These
These movies are. These movies are. You don't want to see who?
Craven. Craven's a boring villain. I'd rather see.
Craven.
Oh,
I want Craven.
I'd rather
well,
see them do. I'd rather see
They're
him do
going to bring him
Scorpion.
in. They're going to bring him in because these way these guys are thinking is like, oh well, there's that Craven's Last Hunt story, and he's popular with the readers, so we're going to bring him in somehow. I mean, that's a
These movies are also Marvel team up. So we've had Iron Man in the first one. We've had Nick Fury in the second one. Sounds like JR, you want Doctor Strange in the third one.
I didn't say want. I said
You suspect.
I suspect.
A Marvel
after all,
hero.
because typically, these guys are appearing in 3 of their own movies and 3 that aren't their
Yep.
movies.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
well, of course, then again, Cumberbatch has already appeared in 2 Avengers and
and his own movie.
and Thor.
Yeah.
So, but
Oh wait, he's on Thor. You're right. So he's already appeared in 4 technically. Yeah.
So,
But-
any other heroes you want in the film besides Hulk? I want Spider-Man Hulk to at least talk, please.
Here's the thing. Like, I'm kind of tired of Peter having mentors. Like, if
Yep.
the films have been going out of their way to say that Peter is his own man now and he's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, reflect that in the material, prove that he's his own person by making him the sole protagonist of his own movie.
Adam in chat wants Deadpool. I don't think Deadpool will work because they're going to
Oh,
both
no.
work
No,
for the
no.
joke.
No.
Johnny
It's a little bit
Storm.
different level of humor involved.
Johnny Storm is a better suggestion, I think, Adam.
I wouldn't mind a Falcap cameo.
Yeah, Falcap.
Yeah.
I
Right.
do think they need to dedicate one movie of like any kind to showing what the Avengers are up to. I assumed at the end of Endgame they were kind of just dissolved permanently now that their base is gone and most of their founding members are either dead or out of commission. But we haven't.
Well,
after Endgame, we need like some kind
I
of.
want Spider-Man
update.
to tick off the Hulk so he loses the control.
That's,
So he's our normal Hulk. That's what I want. Come on. We could fix that problem too. Since I'm
Stop.
going around fixing.
Stop dreaming.
I know it.
I think one of the
Um,
problems with trying to figure out what will happen in the next movie is that the Spider-Man movies that we've had in the MCU so far have been so inconsistent with each other, and they haven't really had the opportunity to have any internal continuity because they get interrupted by the Avengers stuff. So far, the Spider-Man movies have kind of filled in the role of bridging the gap between this is what happened at the end of this phase, and we're transitioning to the next one.
Yeah.
So without that role, I honestly do not know what they're going to do.
That is true. Civil War was essentially an Avengers movie, and this is that Spider-Man film was like a little epilogue to that film. This one is an epilogue to Endgame.
I mentioned this at the end of our Endgame review, but honestly, Ant-Man feels more like a Spider-Man movie than Spider-Man does. They're relatively self-contained, and the hero is the hero of their own story, as opposed to just being a connecting part.
And there's a great example of a movie that's really funny, but the characters have depth and
Chemistry.
and care about each other.
Well, Disney really wanted to mark Spider-Man as their character now, so they didn't have to do that with Ant-Man. I mean, they had to say he's ours now, so that's why they tied it in so much with the Avengers.
Well, gang, I think it's close to wrapping up. Any points you guys wanted to make before we wrap it up?
Yeah. You know, Brad, something has been missing during this entire review.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm trying to think of what has been missing, and I can't quite put my hands on it. But
how do you do, fellow kids?
Tony, I hated this movie. It was an affront against humanity. Tony Stark. Even when he shot Spider-Man is so far out, Tony Stark's butt is hard. I can't believe this. So I'd like to cuss, but Jomo won't let me cuss. You know, it's like, hey, Jomo, why don't you go to the safe space at that Missouri University or whatever? All right? We don't have a villain. We don't have a villain. Mysterio, that wasn't Mysterio. That was Donnie Darko with a beard. Oh,
Sounds like Norman
I hate
Osborn.
that. You know why I
I hate Ned? Because he's not really Ned. He's Gunky. And you know what? Gunky's from the Ultimate Universe. And the Ultimate Universe was Bill Jeemus's middle finger to all the Spider-Man fans.
Oh, man.
Why I hate that. And then that's not my Mary Jane. That's not my MJ. That's Shake It Up Girl. Oh, I tell you, I used to like Kevin Feige, but Kevin Feige has ravaged my childhood again. He does it to me once, then he flips me over and he does it to me again. At nighttime, I used to open up my Bible to Amazing Spider-Man number 166. I would pray to Stegron.
There it is. There it is.
But now you can get in front of a speeding train. All right. And my Spider, what is all this stuff with the double entendres? What is it with those two titles like web tutor? Or what is the Peter Tingle? And it's like, what is Spider-Man watching porn? My Spider-Man doesn't watch porn. My Peter Parker watches Discovery Channel and PBS. And what JJ? So what if JJ didn't have the laptop? He's bald. If he's going to be bald, he just might as well be Elmo with a mustache.
Hey,
I am never gonna forgive Kevin Feige for making me lust after Aunt May. And that's the way it is. I'm J. George Barrowman.
Hey, George.
Bravo, George. JR.
As a
We
George
gotta
would
end the show
say,
on
JR is a goddamn monster.
we got to end the show on that.
Hey,
YouTubers,
Oh,
thank you for listening. Stick around. In about 10 minutes, we're going to review these two books, 824 and 825. We're going to take a little rest, and we're gonna be back. Peter, Chi-Town Spidey is going to join us. The rest of the panel, I hope, will stick around, and we'll talk about these two amazing books. Gang, we will be back in 10 minutes. All right.
Are you gonna hang up?
Okay.
I actually got to get going.
I'll call you guys right back.
Night, Ash.
Hey,
Brad,
JR.
I'm
Night.
going to be coming back
Good night,
to
Ash.
the review part.
What's that?
What happened?
I said I'm not coming. I'm not going to come back for the comics review part.
Oh, okay. You're more
I'll
than
just let
welcome
Peter
to if
take
you
my
want to.
spot. I appreciate it. I got work tomorrow.
Okay, no problem.
We're still live.
Ashley, you're gone too? Okay.
Yeah, it's 11 for me.
So, Javi, are you joining us?
Yeah, I've got 23. I've got about 20% of my battery left, but I got
Okay.
23 that I'm reviewing. So
Oh, that's right. Javi has it, and
Peter, right?
Peter.
yeah, Peter's got the other issue. All right, I'll call
All right.
some of you back. Some I'll talk next month.
I'll stick around.
Okay.
Oh, good,
Well,
JR.
have
Good.
fun.
Cool.
See ya.
I'll probably
Bye.
be in
Good
for,
night.
I'll probably stay for a little while too. So
Okay, I'll
right.
send you the link. Bye.
okay.